There's the ugly Kiwi. Right. Welcome, everybody. My name is Ugly Kiwi. I'm from New Zealand. We are tonight doing my first campaign as Dungeon Master for Dungeons and Dragons. I've got four people here. One's running a bit late, but we'll start without him to play with us tonight, which is really awesome. I've got my brother, Orgasm, who's joining us, who also DMs a campaign that I'm playing. My partner Nutty and good friend Neon, all the way from the UK, who got up early to join us tonight, and Trashman when he turns up. So, but hopefully we have a lot of fun. We should do. I know I will. These guys will, and hopefully any viewers do as well. So, without further ado, we will kick this off. Get some music running in the background.
Egg salad.
Egg salad. Right. All right, guys. Pretty much what we're going to be starting in. We're starting in. You're all from the realm of Paradym, which is, as you can see with you, those who have seen the map, is quite a vast land. Most of it's coastal, so a lot of water, a few islands here and there as well that are scattered around the southern and southwestern parts of the realm. Quite a few lakes and things as well, but mainly coastal cities. Your main areas are all coastal. You guys will be starting in the Howling Mountains region of Paradym, in the eldritch city of Evldoa, which is basically the capital city. It's the largest port city in the realm. The city of Evldoa is governed by an elven lord by the name of Cora Mordan. He was put into power by the people. It's most of the governing bodies here in Paradym voted in. There's no kings or queens. It's all run by lords in a mayoral kind of role. So
Can you hover your mouse around the main city that we're going to be
there is
starting for us?
Evldoa right there. I can even.
Sweet.
So I'll bring it up into the main screen there. So that is where you'll be starting right there. It's like I say, right on the coast. So just to give you a quick rundown of Evldoa, the city of Evldoa is a bustling port city, capital of the Howling Mountain regions of Paradym, and basically capital city of the entire realm. Approximately 34,000 people reside in the city. Mixed races, mainly human, dwarf, elf, and a few other races as well. Situated in the northeastern region of Paradym, right on the borders of the Emerald Sea. Here in Evldoa, there are several guild houses situated. The Order of Champions, which is a fighters guild. The Arcanist Paradym, the Guild of the Arcane Magics, wizards, sorcerers, and the like. Also home to the largest adventurers guild in the land, the Order of the Black Lion. Now, the Order of the Black Lion is the only way that you are legally allowed to adventure in the realms of Paradym. You can't just go out and be a bounty hunter or go out and hunt down monsters for contract without being a member of this guild. It's highly
that's my whole backstory.
highly frowned upon. There are a few temples, different deities. Also, the main deity of this land seems to be Helm, the god of protection, which has a central temple in the city of Evldoa. So where you guys find yourselves, you are sitting in the Great Hall of the Order of the Black Lion. You've all come together, well, you've all arrived here hoping to join the Adventurers Guild to either further your skills or to just seek adventure, fame and fortune, prove a point to someone, whatever your case may be. So pretty much we have you guys in the Great Hall. Inside the hall, it's a really tall building. You've got real high ceilings, 25, 30-foot ceilings. It's almost like if you'd picture the halls of Valhalla. It's very similar. That you got these trophies on the walls, animal heads, shields, spears, weaponry, long tables where people would eat and drink and just have a good time. So the guild, it's a typical guild hall. There's nothing. Anyone who's been a member of a guild would recognise how it's sort of set out. This one's slightly bigger than most guilds, being that it is the main guild hall for the Adventurers Guild. You've all been summoned here, and you're waiting for the headmaster to come and call you to his office and basically for your initiation. So we'll start with you, Baz. You walk in. You walk up to the front doors. You walk into the front doors, and you're greeted by this great big guild hall. And you seem to be the first to arrive. There's a few people sort of around, and not really much is happening. But you've been told that you need to come here at this particular time and sit and wait in the guild hall and wait for the headmaster to summon you.
That's good. As I'm waiting, I take in my surroundings, checking the exits.
Exits. We got your main double doors where you entered the room. There are a few other doors that you notice. A couple to your right, which would be, you're not sure where they lead. Single doorways, and there seems to be 2 or 3 doors to your left as well, and one singular door at the rear of the hall. All closed. You're not sure where they go, but you're very aware of those exits, or perceived exits, as you would see it.
I shall take one of the nearest seats as I wait.
As you do, you sit down. That's fine. While you're sitting there waiting, you're obviously just taking the surroundings. You notice there's an elderly gentleman sort of just wandering around. Looks like he's cleaning tables, and looks like he's dressed in simple clothing. So obviously a servant of some sort. He's just wandering around, not really doing a whole lot, just doing his job. So as you're sitting there, front doors open again, and you notice a very tall, wide-shouldered woman comes in. She's very broad, obviously built. You can see that straight away. And in walks Nutty's character.
Hello.
So what do I see when I look at Nutty?
Would you like to describe yourself, Nutty?
Well, I'm quite big.
Speak up.
I'm quite a big lady. I'm a bit brutish, being in the military and all. And I'm a little bit simple, so I might just give you a bit of a look. So what do you want?
Describe what you're wearing. Describe your armor, essentially describe what you're wearing. Unless you want me to do it, because I can do it for you, if you want me to.
Yeah, if you like.
Loving the accent.
Right. So, obviously, yeah, you obviously can tell she's very barbarian. Like, she's very built. You can tell she's a barbarian. She's a large woman. She carries herself like a soldier. You would assume just by looking at her that she's either former military or has had some form of military training. She has very pale skin, red hair, like dark Albany red hair. A few scars. You can see she's definitely seen some battle. She's carrying with her a large great axe slung over her back. Her armor is chain. It's a chainmail shirt, and with that a cloak of which you would have come to see while walking through the city on your way to the guild hall. That is the exact same as the city guard, same colours, same sort of ideal. So you get the impression that she's either former city guard or she is still part of the city guard.
Excellent. I notice her because she carries herself with such guardish pride. However, I stay seated. I don't know how she noticed me.
Well, I kind of look in the chair and I'm looking at you.
She notices you, definitely. Essentially, you guys are the only people in the hall apart from servants at this stage.
Oh, right.
I eye you up and I'm like, well, I might just sit a couple of chairs down and give you the up.
So seeing me, you would see a large white and silver dragonborn, what you would assume would be male. Medium build, probably not quite as big as you. And I have a rather angled lute strung behind my back.
Ah, I tried to play that once. It didn't work out very well.
Are you gonna? Have you walked up to him and introduced yourself, or you just?
No, I've set two chairs down. I'm just.
So you're
listening.
speaking. You're speaking to him. So okay, so you're not speaking. So you gotta tell me that you're speaking to him, so I know what's going on.
Oh, I'm speaking to him.
You're speaking to
What's
him.
your
Okay,
name
where you
then,
go.
sir?
Yeah, me? Oh, my name's Het, and I extend my hand forward. Pleased to meet you.
Oh, hello, I'm Nay Maris.
Neymaris. Oh, excellent. Nice to meet you, Neymaris. Here on guard duty, are you?
No, today I'm here to join the guild because I want to go on an adventure.
Oh, well, as am I.
And the one thing you do notice, Het, is Namaris's eyes. They are real pale, real faint colour, but they have this slight glow to them. It's not like hugely noticeable, but you sort of every now and again talking to her, you see this slight sort of glowing effect to her eyes. That it's very, very subtle, but it's also very present, and you do pick up on it from time to time.
Excellent. I shall note that in my handy-dandy notebook.
Sometimes I have to concentrate to hear what you're saying proper.
All right. As you guys are conversing, the doors have remained open now. The servants have opened the doors. It's a nice day outside. It's one of those days that it's quite warm. It's not wintertime. It's sort of, I'd say, mid to late summer, so it's still very warm. Sort of about midday-ish. And you notice walking in the door a rather well-presented gentleman. He carries himself reasonably well. Azalaine, could you please describe yourself? Or did he just fall off? No, there he is. Leon, describe your character, dude. Mr. Azalaine, describe your character.
Walking in, I glance over. You two sitting there, having your strange conversation. Not very much attention at all. Must take a good look around the room. Taking in my surroundings, eyeing up the weapons on the wall. Looking at the extreme distrust at the servant. Before I go and position myself and all my overly large weaponry.
So you're going to sit away from these guys against the wall?
Yeah, just stand in the corner near the door.
All right.
Just sort of eyed them up from a distance.
So Azalaine's wearing what was your armor again? I can't remember. I think it's chain as well, isn't it?
I believe it's chain. Yes.
Yeah. So he's wearing similar armor to Nay, but not. I mean, obviously not quite as well kept, and it looks like it has seen battle. He's carrying with him a glaive, rather large, intimidating looking weapon. He is obviously elven in race. Jeez, the dog's going off.
Hang on, I think I'll just go let that dog in.
Yeah, so he is his eyes are grayish blue. He's got mid-length hair tied. Here we go. Now I've got your description up here. Tied in a ponytail at the back. He's about 6'2" in height, weighs about 175 pounds. But clean. Well, it's relatively well kept. He's definitely looks like he's scoping the room, from what you can tell.
I take that and I noticed when people scope the room, because that's what I do. I think it's a great trait.
And I just kind of walk up to him and go, and hello, and who might you be? Because we're about the same height, so I'm going to look him right in the eye.
She would be about the same height as Callistar versus Elven. Yeah, well, barbarians are quite big. So, yeah.
I'm sort of taken aback by this approach.
She's a big woman. She's a lot like standing in front of you. She would eclipse you. Like you're slight, you typical elven sort of features and body frame. So you're not heavy set, whereas this woman is real broad through the shoulders, and almost blocks out the light of the room, sort of standing right in front of you.
I definitely take a good moment before I respond.
I'm just staring.
Just eventually. Aslan.
Well, hello,
Nice to meet you.
Aslan. I'm named Maris. Do you want to come over and sit with us over here?
I'm okay.
All right then.
Thanks.
Got my eye on you.
Right. Okay.
Never
then.
mind him, Nemaris. I believe he's just hanging out. Probably not here for the same thing we are.
I scoff.
Trashman, I know you're listening. Are you ready to join this conversation, or do we need to wait and hold your character off for a bit?
Hold my character off a bit. I'm still on the road. Give me another 15, 20.
Sweet as, bud. All right then. So pretty much you guys you're sitting in the guild hall, and you've watched there's a few other people sort of come in. They've sat down at the other end of the guild hall, all dressed in a similar way. You would assume that they are existing guild members or friends of the guild, the way that they sort of come in and then sort of move off through one of the doors. After a few minutes, they sort of come back and look like they're carrying scrolls of some description, and they sort of head off again.
I feel a little underdressed as I am the only one wearing leather here. I try to sit sideways and put my shoulders out a bit to match up to everyone else.
He's-
Just give you a
he's-
little look. What you doing?
Puffing out his chest.
Oh, I'm just sitting more comfortable.
Right, so as you're sitting there, the elderly servant slash sort of butler type dude, he wanders over to you guys and he goes, excuse me, I'm looking for Initiate Nemaris, Azalan, and Het. Is it Het? Yes, Het. That's it.
Right. Het, that's, yes.
Are those you? Okay. And Azalan, that's the gentleman over by the over by the wall.
I nod.
You not? Could you follow me, please?
Okay, get up and follow.
So he's this dude. He's probably in his 50s, late 50s, early 60s, short greying hair. He's got a bit of a dishevelled moustache, missing a few teeth, and simple clothing. He's obviously been with the guild for quite some time, and he just sort of shuffles along as old men do. And he takes you over to one of the doors on the right hand side, and basically just knocks on the door, tap tap tap, and you hear a sort of a muffled, "Oh, come in," and he says, "Oh, follow me, please. Come on in." And he opens the door and leads you into an office. It's a good sized office. There's a large oaken desk on one sort of end of it across from the door. Again, a few trophies on the wall, swords and shields, again, that sort of stuff. And books. There's a bookshelf and things you'd expect to find in an office. And sitting at the desk is a male half-orc, about 6'3", 6'4", probably a little taller than Nemaris, about as big. This guy, he's a big guy. He's definitely, you can tell that the orc has probably taken over from the human side, and he's big and bulky. He's got pretty heavy set tusks. They're not too long, being only a half orc, but they're very prominent. You can see them. He's got dark shoulder length hair, quite scruffy. Looks like he's in his probably late 30s. He's wearing guild armor, which is a dark black studded, sort of a dark greyish studded leather armor, which is trimmed in black, and on the left shoulder, as he turns, you can see a large black lion's head, which you recognise as the guild seal. And
Well, I feel a bit more comfortable now that he's in leather. It's not just me.
You got a thing for leather, don't you?
That's alright. I think I can still take you.
So the servant turns around and says, "These are the initiates you asked for, Lord Riffin. Will there be anything else?" He goes, "No, that'll be it, Jeremy. Go back to your duties." "All right, sir." And he toddles on out, closes the door.
I make the effort to thankfully bow to Jeremy as he leaves.
And he gives you a kind of a sideways glance and kind of sort of gives you a half-hearted smile and sort of carries on. He's not used to people bowing to him. He's not used to that kind of attention. He kind of just ignores you guys and leaves the room. And so the half-orc sort of sits up straight in his desk and he goes, "Well, glad to see you guys have made it to the guild hall. My name is Headmaster Riffin. I've been headmaster of the guild now for a number of years, and we every year we take on a few new initiates, and looks like it's you this year. Unfortunately, you're not guaranteed acceptance. We do have a few tasks for you to complete. So if you're skittish, squeamish, otherwise frail in any way, shape or form, you're probably not the right place for you to be."
I think we're all about 6 foot, so I imagine we're not too skittish or squeamish.
Well, that's good. I have to ask. I mean, you'd be surprised. I've seen some Goliath break down and cry at the first sight of a dragon. I mean, it happens.
I've looked after this here city for a while, so, you know, it's all good.
And that actually reminds me. Neymaris,
Yes.
why would you want to join the Adventurers Guild? I mean, you've been a part of Vallond as long as I can remember.
Well, I think it's time I just get out there and have a look round.
Well, that's fair enough, I suppose. Well, okay then. I have 3 tasks which you need to complete before you could be officially welcomed and into the guild and receive your guild seals.
Is it a race? Do we have to compete against each other for these tasks?
Quite the contrary. You'll be working together on these tasks. We try and promote group efforts as much as we possibly can. You can, I mean, if you wanted to accept a contract solo, you could, but chances are you're going to get horribly wounded or maimed or killed or something, and that's not good for business. We do make money from these contracts, and obviously the more people involved in the contract, the quicker the contracts are done. But there is a time frame for these trials. I mean, we can't have you out there for months on end trying to complete a trial. We do need certain things done quickly. Others take a bit longer, depending on the contract. But you have 3 trials. The first trial is what we're here to discuss today. Once you've completed the trials, obviously, you'll be accepted. You'll get your guild seal. You'll have access to the guild halls across Paradym. You will gain discounts on certain products at guild vendors and the such. And also you'll gain a percentage of each contract you complete.
Do we get discount cards? That sounds wonderful.
Well, your seal is your discount card, technically. But I digress.
We get a seat.
Your first trial will have you travelling to the Lazy Woods, which is to the northwest. Through the Howling Mountains region. You'll need to find and bring back the hides, in good order, of 2 giant weasels, and a vial of venom for the poisonous snakes that inhabit their area.
I'm sorry, you're talking too fast for me.
I'm sorry. I forget. I forget myself. I apologize. 2 weasels, lots of snakes, get venom. Did you get that one?
So the hides of 2 giant weasels and how much snake venom?
Just one vial of snake venom. It should take
Okay.
3 or 4 snakes to fill a vial. Maybe 1 giant snake could possibly do it. 1 giant snake and a couple of small ones. You never know. If you complete the trial and return within 7 days, you'll each receive 10 gold pieces, and as well as your next trial.
I think we can do this, boys.
Well, I mean, after all, it's just weasels and snakes.
We eat
It's
those
a
for
little bit of a walk
breakfast.
to get there.
Yes, if you do look at you guys all have been given maps as part of your application, basically to the guild. You've been handed a Valon City map, which is this one here. So that shows you roughly the city. Maris doesn't need this map. She's been born and raised in the city. She knows the city very well. And you've also been given a world map, and it shows you that Lazy Woods is all the way up there to the northeast.
Well,
On the northeastern shores of Lake Gatton. In
Excellent.
days' time, if you're looking at travel, you would estimate, looking at the distance, you'd be looking at probably 3, maybe 4 days travel via horseback to get
I
there.
was gonna say, what if we had horses? Because we might be able to help with that.
And you would be able to help with that, being with your standing with the city guard.
That's an excellent offer, Nemaris. I think getting horses was a good idea.
I agree,
Well,
especially if we want it back within 7 days.
Exactly.
Now, the 7 days is to complete the contract. It does not mean that you have 7 days to get there, complete the contract, and get back. You have 7 days to complete
How
the
do
contract.
we prove we complete the contract?
I'm glad you asked. The contract is magical, of course. Why would we do things manually? I mean, come on. The contract, the moment you accept the contract and you sign the contract, is magically sealed. And the seal of the guild will appear on completion of the contract. Once you complete it, that's the lion's head will magically appear on the contract, telling you that it's completed and that you can return it at your given time. And upon returning with the contract, you then get your payment, and we can carry on to the second trial.
Dang it, so no Resident Evil back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, eh?
I don't know what Resident Evil is, but no back and forth. That's up to you. I mean, if you want to go back and forth, more
No,
traveling,
magical
more
contract suits me fine.
more traveling for you.
Wait, are there 2 copies of the magical contract? Do you keep one and we keep one? So
Well,
then you know when
essentially,
we
yes.
finished it, and we know when we finished it.
Exactly. This one's smart.
The way you think.
So
I'm
do
just-
you accept the contract?
Yes.
Well, I accept.
So
stand here and think about it. I think it hurts my brain. But yes, I think
Right.
we can do that.
So on your guys' acceptance of the contract, Riffin fumbles through his drawers and pulls out a scroll and scrolls it out in front of you and hands you a quill. Do you each sign the contract?
Yes.
He signs the contract. He picks up the nearest quill and starts signing.
Awesome.
Can I
So-
do it right now, and it'll take me a couple of minutes, okay?
Now, Maris, if you must, just put an X.
Alright then. An X? What's an X?
Speak up, can't hear
We said, what's an X?
you. just put a mark on the paper.
I can do that.
So
Just a paw print, milady.
no, Maris marks the.
I'm
No,
sorry.
Maris sort of squiggles something on the paper. You can't tell what it is. It's just a mark, just a scribble, and then hands the quilt over to Aslan.
I've spent many years trying to get this right, but I just can't get the hang of it. I'm sorry.
I look at the mark. Look at Nimeris. Look back at the mark.
I look at you looking at the mark going, I still don't know that I like you yet or not.
And Hit looks at Ezelin, looking at the mark, looking at the mirror.
Oh, crap.
I proceed to sign.
Right. So at the moment you all three sign the contract, it sort of glows faintly with arcane energy, and then it sort of just dissipates. And Riffin also rolls it up and seals it with the guild seal and hands it over. Who wants to take the contract while you guys are on your travels?
I'll keep a hold of it.
Hands the contract over to Aslan. And as it's the moment you grab the contract, a second contract just appears in Riffin's hands. And he goes, right, there we go. We're in business. And he pops it into his drawer.
So,
This
Hit
fancy
and
contract.
Aslan,
Hello.
can I just say, should we just go and find a pub and then I can go and see some people about some horses?
That works for me.
You're gonna go to a
Yeah.
pub. You're gonna go to a pub to find some horses.
I don't see why not.
Awesome.
Because I just might know the people to speak to it. So actually, the pub's a little bit. That's not so good. We'll just go to the tavern. It's a bit more high class for this young man.
All right. So, as because you know the area, and for the sake of the story, the Squirrel and Hydra
Awesome.
is the closest inn or tavern. It's a dwarven inn / tavern. It's the rumors about it. You know, Namaris, and you sort of regale this information to your two new companions. It's said to be built atop the tomb of a necromancer, but you don't believe it. I mean, you're not sure. The innkeeper goes by the name of Iraf. He's a male halfling. And so, do you guys wish to head to the Squirrel and Hydra? Before
Okay,
obviously
we'll go
trying
to the
to
Squirrel.
find horses.
Go sit on top of a dead man that raises dead men.
Exactly.
I will follow whoever is carrying our magical contract, because I therefore see Ezelin now as our leader.
Right, so you guys have the guild hall is when I find out my notes here. Oh shit! Excuse me. One moment. Should have written this down. So I have written it down somewhere, but I've got pages and pages of notes. And I knew I should have highlighted this before we started. Right, so Rosefall's Farthing is where you guys are, which is this area here. And to find Namaris will be able to take you straight there, but it's a bit of a walk to get to the inn. The Squirrel and Hydra is in the Craftsman's District, which is not too far. It's not too far, but you have to go round through Rose Falls, then through Lower Temple Ward, and then into the Craftsman's District.
Okay. Well, I mean, Namaris, you have to lead the way, I guess.
No problem. Are we going past the Arcanist Potter Room on our way?
I don't think you are.
Damn it.
Hang on,
Okay.
I will tell you in 1 second. You can do if you want to go to the Arcanist Potter Room on your travels. You can go there first.
Just quickly, so I can say goodbye to the family and tell them I got in and I got my first contract.
Because the Arcanist Potter Room's in the Lower Temple Ward, so which is when I find it.
Lower Temple Ward, right side.
That's it. Yep, over there. Oh, you got to go through the Lower Temple Ward, yes. So it's on the way.
Alright, just while we're on our way, guys, I just need to quickly pop in and say goodbye to these people before we go on our quest. Okay?
Oh, that sounds fine to me.
No choice anyway.
Joys of family.
Oh, I feel sorry for you, dear man.
So, right, yeah, it's going to take you about, I don't know, probably about 35-40 minutes to get to the Arcanist Potter Room. it's a fair walk, nothing too strenuous. So as you get to the Arcanus Paradym, Namaris is leading the way, and you see a few people as you're going through the city streets. Humans, there's dwarves, you got elves, half elves, a few halflings scattered around the place. It's a bustling city. They are, compared to you, yeah, they would be.
I don't see anybody that looks out of place at the moment, so they're all good.
No. So, upon reaching the Arcanus Paradym, you find yourself in front of a large building. It is huge, large, it's almost like church double doors in the front. 3 or 4 story building. It almost looks like a temple, but it's got the tapestries down the front with the Arcanus Paradym symbols on the front. The colours are silver and gold on the tapestries, and you've got the symbol of arcane magics. I mean, you've got all different arcane symbols across the tapestries. Do you wish to go in?
Well, I'm going to. I don't know about these two.
I'll walk in with you.
Yeah, and I will follow the team. As I said, whoever carries the contract is... Well, I mean, we've got it completed together. I'm just going to stay with them so we don't get lost.
Alright, these guys are lovely, and here, just be very
Okay,
nice.
so as you walk in the door and you sort of push your way in, and as you walk in, again, an open sort of almost like a courtyard, sun streaming in from midday sun through what looks like almost like a glass skylight at the very top of this tall building. Like there's a central part of the building which goes all the way to the top and to the roof, which is all then topped in glass. Big spiral staircase, and sort of you can see the levels, the different balconies, the 3 levels in the building, and the building then, what you didn't see from the front, and as now see, you got 2 big double doors at the rear of the building, and it looks like it just goes back further, which Nomaris would know as the sleeping quarters, and there's basement levels and that as well, where arcane magics are practiced and taught, and vast library and things like that. You're greeted by not an elderly, probably a 40-something elven man, long silver and gold robes, long grey hair, braided in the back and sort of comes halfway down his back. Very sort of, he's got his arms crossed and inside his sleeves, standing up very tall and just sort of almost like, it's almost not like he's walking, it's almost like he's floating towards you, and he sort of comes right up to Namaris. And Nay, how did you get on? Why have you returned so quickly? You only left but an hour or 2 ago.
Well, I thought I'd better come back and say we've got our first tasks to do, and these lovely gentlemen here. I'm not sure about that one standing over there that half. He's a bit off, but the other one's okay.
It's all right. I'm assuming he's fine. He wouldn't be a part of the guild if he wasn't.
Do we hear this?
You hear this? She's not quiet about anything. I mean, she's got no inner monologue. She's not unintelligent, but she's not intelligent, and you guys both sense this. She thinks she's whispering, but she's really not.
He leans over to Azula and goes, "Is she talking to me or about you?"
She's definitely talking about me.
And then I don't find you so off.
And Nomaris, you'd know this man to be Thorfi Lederson. He's the headmaster of the Arcanus Paradym. He's an elven mage, a very powerful mage. He practically raised you. You've come to know him as a father figure ever since you were practically born here. So you were raised in this building, so you know him very well. Thorfi then turns around to you guys and says, welcome. I hope everything will be okay with Nay. She's a good fighter. Very, very good fighter. But a little slow. She means well. Just it is what it is. And he sort of pats Namaris on the back and says, "Well, you best be going. I dare say Riffin has probably set you a time frame. I would assume nothing else from the man. So, was there anything else you needed while you were here?"
No. I just wanted to come say goodbye and we'll see you soon.
Are you sure there was nothing else that you needed?
Hit approaches him and looks over at Namaris and sort of leans back to this dude and says, "Is she a very good fighter?"
Oh, yeah, definitely. She would, put it this way. She's earned the nickname, and he sort of leans over and whispers into Namaris the Bloody.
Oh, do you sell health potions?
Well, yes, we do. We, well, for friends of Namaris, so we can definitely help you out there.
I mean, we've got this mission, and he makes quotation marks in his ear with his fingers. We've got this mission, and if that's her nickname, I dare say we might need them. What price are we looking at here?
Well, we can do a special discounted rate. We have a couple of common healing potions and one greater at the moment. I could do you both the common for, say, 4 gold each.
I shall take 1 common health potion, thank you.
Okay, mark off 4 gold and add
I hand him over 4 gold.
and mark on 1 common or 1 standard healing potion. 2d4 plus 2. Yeah.
Sweet.
The greater, however, it'd be a bit more expensive. That's going to run you about 25 gold. They're pretty good, but and that is discounted rate as well. Unfortunately, Master Half Elf, would you like a healing potion at all?
I would graciously accept one at your discounted rate.
The common healing again, 4 gold for that would be quite sufficient.
Here you are, sir.
Thank you very much. And he takes your 4 gold and hands off the common healing potion. And as he turns and walks back towards Namaris and says to Namaris, "You're going to need this," and hands her a common healing potion as well. So Namaris add a standard healing potion to your inventory.
Maybe let's give you something for it. You can't just be giving
No,
us stuff.
no. You take it, my child. You've done us a great service all these years. It's the least I could do.
Okay.
Hey, Ezzelin, she's done him a great service.
I may be dumb,
I
but
just-
I'm not that
I just
dumb.
look at him.
And actually, Namaris, roll a perception check to see if you understood that comment. Actually, no, intelligence.
I pull out my loot and I go, wah, 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 wah.
Well, I got a 6 for intelligence.
6.
And then the -1, remember?
So you heard the comment, but you have no clue that it meant anything. You just sort of shrug it off.
First roll of the game.
There's the first roll. Right, so you're going to carry on to the tavern, or you're going to go look for horses?
I can just kind of point them in the direction, and I'll point them in the direction, and then I'll go look.
Okay, so you're going to meet them at the tavern, you're going to go procure horses, or do you want to go do it all together? So it's up to you guys.
I don't mind.
No matter what
Can I
happens,
make
I will
one
stay
small
with the...
suggestion?
yes, you may.
Your friend here at the Arcanus Podrum, does he happen to have access to horses? Might save his time.
No, he won't, because they're more of a guard thing.
Yes, so this is where...
Unless he has magic horses.
So you can if you want to then tell them about your station or your former station, you can now, or you can just leave it at that.
It's alright, I'll let him know.
Okay.
I used to be in the military here, and it's a soldier, I can know a few people who
Yeah.
I can
So
occasionally get stuff.
she was former city guard, made the rank of sergeant, so she's fairly well respected in town. It's where she got her martial training, and there's a few people that make fun of her still because of her intellect, but for the most part, she's well respected and can probably procure horses from the city guard.
I never make fun of a lady who can bench press me.
Oh shit! So again,
It's a standard house rule. I mean,
well, it makes perfect sense. So up to you guys whether you want to carry on to the tavern and have a drink before you go get horses, or you're going to both go get horses, one staying, one going.
I will stay with Azalin.
You're staying with the contract?
He has the mission and contract.
How long does it take me to go and get these horses?
Well, if you went on your own, you'd have to go all the way over back to the Tome Ward, which is in the centre of town where the barracks are, and in order to see the captain of the guard to procure the writ to get the horses. So that'd probably take you, if you're on your own, take you an hour to walk there, an hour to walk back, and then to proceed to the outer wall to get the horses, probably another hour. So you're probably looking at 3 hours all up if you were to do the there and back together, or you can leave them at the inn for those 2 hours while you go organise the writ.
Sounds good. They can get dinner sorted.
But it's still only about sort of 12:30, 1 o'clock. It's only sort of early afternoon.
Sounds like lunchtime to me.
Well, I
Okay.
guess the bar would have lunch. They will.
They will.
What you call it, the Squirrel and Hydra.
Squirrel and Hydra would definitely have a menu.
They actually do quite good food there, I hear. So
Now, Maris, do they have raw meat?
don't know.
Well, you don't know if they do raw meat. You know they do cooked meat. You know that they have braised partridge with garlic and dried grape. They have stewed pork and millet bread, braised dragon.
She's a goddamn menu on her.
Braised dragon and poached eggs. Probably wouldn't appeal to you there, Het.
Don't know if you should eat your own kind so much.
Roasted cod and dried beetroot, but if you asked, they could probably serve it raw, I'm assuming.
Who wants
Well, if that's where we're headed, Azalin, what do you think?
So you're
That could
gonna...
give me a bit of dragon.
Okay, so... so Aslan and Het, you guys are going to head off towards the Craftsman District and go to the Squirrel and Hydra. You both have a map, so it'll take you a little while. You might stop and ask, and actually, both of you make a charisma check for me. Just a standard charisma check.
Crap.
Just to see how easy it is for you to get directions using the map.
First
And
natural one of the game.
oh shit. Well, Het
Is there a dice roller on that page, or do I need to find a different one?
I don't think there's a dice roller on there, so you might have to just Google search one. There's plenty of dice apps available. But Het, as you try to approach people to ask for directions, most people are put off by your general Dragonborn appearance. You don't get many Dragonborns in Voland.
No.
Especially
Don't
white,
imagine so.
especially white ones. It's kind of intimidating to
It's
some
far
people,
more uncommon.
and so you're struggling to find anyone that'll actually even talk to you, let alone give you directions.
D1, D10 or D20?
D20, and then add
D20.
your charisma modifier.
Ba, ba, ba. 15 total.
15. Obviously, the charismatic young half-elf has no problem asking for directions, and with the aid of the map, you guys find the Squirrel and Hydra Inn. Takes you about 40 minutes to get there, but you find it without too many hassles. It's a very
Well done, Azalin. Good,
it's a well built inn. It's doesn't look run down. It looks reasonably clean. You walked in through the doors. It's nicely set out. It's not dark and dingy like you'd find most sort of inns. Being in a larger city, it's a little bit better kept and obviously more of the upmarket sort of inn. At the bar,
looks expensive.
At the bar, you can see the halfling, little halfling man, probably in his late 30s, short cropped hair, wearing an apron and just simple clothing, and he's just sort of moving backwards and forwards, selling a few drinks. It's not full, but it's busy-ish. It's not a big day for them, but they're doing all right.
Up to the counter and slams his hand on the counter and says, "Greetings, my good man. Could I trouble you for a side of raw
A side of raw what?
steak, beef, cow?"
Steak. Well, we don't have any. Well, I'm sorry. He's a little bit put off by your appearance too. He's used to seeing Dragonborn, but he hasn't seen any in quite some time, and never seen a white one. So he's a little bit he sort of sits back and says, "Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm really sorry. We don't have any beef right now.
What's the closest thing to beef you might have?
Pork. I mean, pig. It's probably the closest we can
I'll
do.
have a half a pig then.
Oh my god, half a pig. Just one moment, and he
I was keen.
He hops down off his stool.
A steak will do fine.
A pig steak. Oh, geez, you scared me. I don't know if we have half a pig. I mean, whew.
I guess you couldn't tell because of my face, but I was smiling.
Oh yeah. Well, the teeth kind of give it a. Yeah. Oh yeah. All right. So he says, "Sweet. Go have a seat, and I'll be right with you. Just you for food. Do you want drink? What else are we after?
What's that going to set me back? I can pay you now if you like.
For just the steak, do you want bread? We can do. We normally do
just the steak is fine.
Just the meat. We can do a meat and ale for 9 copper.
Sounds good to me. 9 copper it is.
Awesome. So mark off 9 copper. And he turns to you, Aslan, and says, "And you, fine sir, would you be partaking in a meal and some drink today, or are you okay?"
I hear you do dragon.
We do. Braised dragon and poached eggs. It's my favourite. Shit. It's really good.
He just looks over and just eyes Aslan is like, "Are you serious?"
The halfling he sort of, as he's saying this, he sort of turns and glances to you and thinks, "Oh crap." And he kind of leans over, trying to be as discreet as possible. It's really good. And you get a glass of brandy as well. We do braised dragon and poached egg, and a glass of brandy for 2 silver pieces.
I'm in.
Right, mark off 2 silver pieces, and go find yourselves a table. And he hops down off his stool behind the bar and tolls off to the kitchen.
Opt for the table that is the closest to a dark corner.
Okay, so the whole place is fairly well lit. I mean, it's probably the darkest one. You go to the far left corner of the inn, and it's not dark, but there's a few shadows in that sort of corner of the room. There are a few people sort of inhabiting. You sort of, as you sort of look around the room, you see there's the female servant that's there. She's sort of wandering around, sort of messy golden hair, apron, wearing worn clothing, but it's all tidy.
What race is she?
She's an elf, female elf.
Excellent.
You notice there's a male halfling sitting at another table, and another dwarf at a table opposite to where you guys are about to sit. And there's a little stage there as well where a little male halfling entertainer is just sitting there playing a lute, just ambient music, nothing too upbeat or anything like that. It's very simple, just enough to set the mood for the tavern.
Hit pulls out his lute and just sort of plays along with it, and just quietly.
Make a performance check with advantage.
Oh, it's so good. 14.
14? 14, okay.
Not so good.
Ooh. the halfling antenna, sort of as you start playing, he sort of looks up at you a little bit surprised to hear other music being played, and he sort of stumbles and misnotes, and you just sort of step in over top and just carry on with the melody as if you'd heard it 1,000 times. And
at the same time, I activate thaumaturgy and put a puff of sparks out behind myself.
So that everyone sort of glance around and look at you and go, "Oh,
It's like a Kiss Rock show.
awesome!" That is awesome. I'll give you DM's inspiration for that, dude. So
Oh, thank you.
that's awesome. Right, so over to
I
name.
notice people looking and I kind of quiet it down and carry on.
No worries. So I'm going to leave you guys there for a moment, waiting for your food. And Neymaris, you find your way around the town easily enough. You lived here your whole life. You got no problems finding your way through. You get through to the tome ward, and you make your way to the barracks. And when I find my barracks notes. You find your way through the barracks to the captain, up to the front doors there, and there's a couple of guards standing there, spears and shields, sort of just minding their own business. They've noticed you're approaching, but they haven't really sort of reacted to you just yet. Now I've got to find my notes on the damn barracks. Where did I put them?
I look to one of them and look at him and go, "Excuse me."
Oh, Neymaris, hey, how you doing? You sort of you got two guards here. The young guard he's really young. You probably don't recognise him, but they all know who you are. He's probably fresh into the city guard. The one next to him sort of knows you instantly. He's someone you know. You've served with him before. His name is when I find it. Oh crap. His name is Jorosh. And
Hello, Jorah.
oh, Neymaris, hey, how you doing today? What can we help you with?
Well, we actually need a couple of horses. We've got a bit of an adventure to go on.
What, you mean you're leaving the city? I never thought I'd see the day.
Well, you know, girls gotta do what girls gotta do.
Which you do quite frequently.
What are you trying to say?
Nothing. And he sort of sheepishly puts his head down. It was his. He was trying to be humorous, and obviously it failed. So he goes. So you'll be wanting to see Breton then, the captain, because he'll have to give you a writ for the horses.
Oh yes, please.
Oh
Is
wait,
he in?
he is. He's in his office. Where you go? And he goes to the other guard. He goes, "Oh, let it pass. And he sort of goes, "All right, see you later."
As you were.
Yeah, all right, whatever. And he sort of mutters under his breath as she walks through. So you then find your way through the building, sort of getting a few nods and waves from other guard that are off duty and in the barracks, and you find your way to the captain's office, and you knock on the door, and you don't hear anything for a minute or two, and then come on in, and you make your way into the office there, and.
Salute. Hello, Captain.
And at his desk, you find the captain of the city guard, Britton Hart, male human fighter. He's long, dark hair, blue eyes, wears plate mail. Next to his desk, you got a large warhammer, and you can see his hunters. He's got a real nice hunter's bow on the wall, and his black wolf anvil is sitting beside the desk. Oh, Neymaris, come on in. What can we help you with today?
Good afternoon, sir. I was just wondering if I could, what's the word for it? If I could borrow a couple of horses for about,
You want to borrow a horse?
Yes, I've been given a task to do, and I have a couple of friends, and it's a bit of a way away, and it's gonna not take so long for an horse.
Okay. The accent is throwing me off. All right then. Yeah, well, I can't see that being a problem. I don't know, the guard hasn't really done anything for a while. We've got a few exercises that we need to do in the northern part of Verland, but I think we can spare 3 or 4 horses. How many do you need?
Well, hang on. She thinks.
That's right, you can't count. Shit.
Hang on. If I put up my hand and there's me, and I'm looking and I'm going, and there's him, and there might be another one, but I don't know.
So,
How many is that then?
so you'll need at least 3. I'll tell you what, I'll give you 3, and if you need another one later, you come back and see me.
Alright, thank you.
Right, so he then proceeds to write you out a writ and puts the guard city seal on it, rolls it up and hands it to you, and he goes, well, best of luck on your travels, Namaris. You're always welcome back in the city, and if you ever wanted to rejoin the city guard, we'll be glad to have you back.
Oh, thank you, sir. I don't know. We'll see how this goes, I guess.
All right, then be on your way. I have things I have to attend to, and Anvil sort of perks up when he sees you as well, because you got quite friendly with Anvil. He was always sniffing around and sort of he'd always lick your hand whenever you were around. You sort of have this thing with animals. It's kind of weird, but.
I give him a little scratch and say, it's alright, boy, I'll be back. I don't know when, though. But I'll be back.
Right, so.
These horses all get in real big trouble.
Right, on that note, again, for sake of story, back at the inn with the boys, you guys are about to receive your meals.
I like meals.
Meals on wheels. So the halfling male Aerith comes back to you guys, and he goes, right, so raw pork and ale for you, and pops down the plate in front of you, and he goes, and braised dragon for you, and brandy, and then sort of turns around and toddles off back to the bar.
I think I'm going to start with a bit of dragon.
So you can try the dragon. Give it a go. Give it a shot.
He just watches him eating it.
It's good. It's got a bit of a fiery aftertaste.
Fiery aftertaste, even.
He just opens his maw like a bird eats food. And he just drops that pork steak straight in and just just splats meat everywhere, and then slams down the ale. What's the ale taste like? Is it any good?
It's okay. I mean, again, it's a more upmarket thing. Being the city, it's not like it's a small town. It's been well brewed. It's probably a little fruity, more fruity than most ales, but it's okay. It tastes good.
He wipes his arm across his mouth, right where the leather gauntlet is, and no, it's not bad. Could have been meatier.
Yeah, raw meat that could have been meatier.
No, the ale could have been more meatier.
Awesome.
He turns to Azalin while we wait and just says, so, Azalin, joining the guild, what steered you this way, eh?
Well, everything else went wrong, so why not go and try stabbing things for a living?
I hear you, eh? Sounds good. So stabbing things for a living. Where did you train? Somewhere local?
You may or may not have heard of it. A town called Harfeld.
Oh, no, Nope, I haven't heard of that. And they take it good trainers?
1 or 2.
Roll a history check, Baz.
History. That's a 2.
That's a 2. You've never heard of Harfield.
I've never heard of it. No, not a place I've been. I've actually stayed in my hometown for a lot of my life. Not travelled much at all. This is my first outing, actually.
I see. And where is your hometown?
Well, you see, I come from, I'm just reading my notes now. I did come from a place, a smaller town than this. I'm not used to these big cities.
Me neither.
And I
Arnis.
lived in, and
Arnis.
DM could help me. Arnis, there we go. Pronunciation.
Yep.
Where I studied there. I pull out my lute again. Studied a bit of my music.
Yeah, and you tell him that it's in the Graven Waste region of Paradym.
Yes, that's exactly what I tell him.
So, what brings a lute player to the Adventurers Guild?
Well, it's a funny story. My father's not a man who allows weak people in his house, and he wants me to get out and become tougher, basically.
Because he's sat at home playing music all the time.
No, well, not exactly, but I guess there's that. My mother is a bard, and I liked her, the way she did things. And my father thinks it's a bit of a girly way to be. So he said, son, follow in my footsteps, and I tried, but he said I was too weak, and he said I have to go out on my own, and here I am.
Well, I'm sure that we will be happy to have you. You seem pretty good with the loot, so it's never
Absolutely.
going to be boring either.
No, if
Right,
you ever need a regaling song, that is my job.
And at this moment, Neymaris enters the tavern and comes and sits down with you guys.
No, guys, I've got the horses. I think I got.
You need to speak up a bit, though.
I said I think I got enough horses for us all.
How many horses did you get?
She looks at her hands. Well, there's one for me, and there's one for you, and I think there's one for him too. But I don't know. That's that many fingers. That is.
You back, Trash?
Yep.
Sweet.
Laughing my head off. Yeah.
Well, this is good because that means I can introduce your character a little bit.
Do you have the writ with you?
The what? Do I have the
Oh
what?
dear.
Are you talking about this piece of paper here that's got squiggles on it?
Quite possibly.
And do you hand it over?
I don't know if I want to. Why should I? Suppose why should I?
Well, you can't read it, so.
You can keep it.
Well, actually, no, you can read.
Just have a look.
No, Maris, you can read, but you can read simple words. Nothing more than sort of one or two syllables. Anything more than that is a bit of a challenge. But you're not unintelligent because you've been raised in the Arcanist Paradym, so you're not unintelligent.
Shh, I don't need to know that.
So you
He leans over to Evelyn and says, "Did she steal them, or is it?"
she hands over the writ so you can read it. So on the writ it basically states that I hereby, the captain of the guard, Breton Hart, issue the use of 3 or more horses to the Adventurers Guild by way of Neymaris. You can collect them at the stables, which is at the northern gates of the town.
So there's 3
Britain
on
Heart, eh?
Yes, Breton Hart. Took you a little while.
Just a hitman. I recognize his name, I think.
Possibly. You can roll the history. You could roll a history check to see if you recognise the name.
I shall indeed roll a history check. That is a natural 20.
Wow. You've definitely heard of Bretton Hart. He's not a hitman, but you have definitely heard of him. He's well renowned as his skills as a fighter, and
Why did I waste a natural 20 on this?
is exceptionally skilled with a warhammer, and his Black Wolf Amble is probably why most people remember him. His Black Wolf is with him at all times. That was a waste of a natural 20. It really was.
Be the one for the game that I had.
Right, and it's at this moment you guys notice a human female into the bar, and she's looking around a little bit not really too frantically, but looking around. Sort of looks like she's looking for someone, and she spies Neymaris firstly, and sort of makes a beeline for your guys' table. Trashy, if you'd like to describe your character, please. Or do you want me to do it? I kind of figured. As she approached the table, you notice a female human, about 5'7", quite young, sort of very nondescript, quite plain looking, bluey greyish coloured eyes. Sort of very average looking. You'd quite easily sort of miss her in a crowd. She doesn't really stand out from anyone. But she approaches you guys at the table, wearing leathers, all dark leathers, dark cloak as well, carrying a short bow on her back and daggers at her sides. And she comes straight up to Neymaris.
Let's give her a look and go, what are you doing?
Trashy, just to give you a bit of a segue into the character, you've been sent here to look for these guys. You made it to the guild hall. You were late. You've spoken to Riffin at the guild, and he said, well, you guys, the contract's been accepted. He's added your signature on his end, which has magically added it to your guys' contract, and you were basically sent to find them, and in your travels you discovered that they were waiting here for Neymaris to get back from the captain's quarters. So have at it.
Are you the people I'm looking for?
I don't know. Why would you be looking for us?
I don't know. What were you waiting for?
Well, who are you, and why would you come straight up to me?
Riffin's the one that told you to look for Neymaris, and she's hard to miss. She's a big lady. So you've signed the contract for the guild, and you're to join the party for the first trial.
What he said.
Okay. Well, hello. I'm Neymaris, and these here fellers are that funny looking one over there's Het, and then there's that one that still looks a bit dodgy to me.
All the while, you guys can hear this, by the way.
He just waves.
I just sit back with my brandy.
No, we were just having dinner before we buggered off.
Well, you haven't ordered anything yet, so.
Oh, I kind of munched on shit as I came back from the.
So essentially, sitting at the table, you've got Neymaris, who is an obvious barbarian woman, very large, very muscular. You've got a silver white dragonborn. He is carrying a lute and is quite reasonably large, as being a dragonborn. And you've got a half-elven. You half-elf or full-elf?
Half-elf.
Half-elf. Got a half-elven man sitting next to him. Basically Aslan, Het, and Neymaris. These will be your companions for the trials for the guild.
Het reaches forward and says, I'm Het, pleased to meet you.
Well met. Looking up weirdly.
Shake your head.
The first thing you notice when you shake her hand is the colour of her eyes, before you notice you thought they were bluey-grey, but there's virtually no colour to them at all when she looks up at you.
Okay, I shall note that down.
Right, so what are you guys up to? You're going to stay at the pub? You're going to go get your horses?
I'm bored. Let's go.
I'm ready to go. I've had my meal. Azalin, good to go.
I'll wash down the rest of my dragon steak.
He does so with a loud belch.
I dropped 2 coppers on the table,
Cool.
just as like a tip.
No worries. 2 copper on the table. If Arif sort of, as sees you guys get up and leave, he wanders over the table to start clearing your dishes and spies the 2 copper and quickly sweeps them in, put them in his pocket. Thank you very much. I hope to see you again. Sorry about the dragon steak, sir, thing. And just turns and walks off.
It's no problem, really. I'm used to the whole world is like this.
So as you guys you leave the tavern, you're now heading. Want to head towards the northern gate to pick up the horses.
That sounds like a good plan.
Okay, so as you go back through the Lower Temple Ward, and you'll end up going through one of the main markets. You can stop and shop on your way, or if you think you got what you need, we can head straight to the horses. It's up to you.
We don't
I'm
really
good.
need anything.
Yeah, you've got a couple of potions and bits and pieces. Right, so heading off to north takes you about an hour to get to the northern gates. It's a bit of a walk. It's a large city. You get to the northern gate and you find the stables. And again, just for the sake of the story, you find the stables and you talk to the stable hand. You hand over the writ, and he provides you with the horses and saddles, a few meager provisions, a bit of water, and that for your travels. So,
Can I ask one question?
yes, you can.
How much weight can said horse carry?
For you, I think we're going to give you a Clydesdale. It's a draft horse. It should be able to carry you fine.
Excellent, because I do have a little weighty problem with the scales and all.
I can see that, sir, and I think you'll be fine.
I mean, I crushed a pony my mum gave me when I was a child.
And you turn around and you see the Clydesdale, and it stands as tall as you do at the shoulder.
Excellent. This will do.
Neymaris will also have a Clydesdale because she's a big beefy woman as well. So you've been given a couple of Clydesdales. Aslan, you are given what looks to be an Arabian stallion. It's a very, very fine looking horse. Probably a little older. Probably hasn't seen hasn't seen a part of the cavalry for a while, but it's definitely a really fine looking horse. And Alessandros, you get just a grey mare. Which again, they're all good horses. I mean, they've been provided by the city guard, so they're all sturdy animals, well
He
kept.
pulls out his loot and goes, "Oh, grey mare, she ain't what she used to
Well, right. So traveling companions, you've got a couple of choices. You leave from the northern gate, and you'll be heading northeast towards the Howling Mountains. It's going to take you 3 or 4 days by horse to get to the Lazy Woods. You can travel. Obviously, you're going to have to stop and camp along the way. It'll take you 2.5 days to travel to Gatton City, which is on the northwestern shores of the Gatton Lake. Lazy Woods lies on the western shore. So essentially, as you move forward, you will get to a crossroads, which we'll come to a bit later on. So pretty much, what pace are you guys traveling at the moment? Fast pace, if you go fast, the horses will tire quickly. If you go a medium pace, you can do in a day, probably, let's say, a quarter of the journey. So you'll probably get to the foot of the Howling Mountains in your first day.
don't know about you, team, but I think a medium pace is good. Let's get this ball rolling.
Sounds good to me.
Don't have to
Medium
go
it
too
is.
fast.
Right, so medium pace it is. So you guys head out on a just as a medium pace. It's still sort of mid to late afternoon. It's gonna start getting dark in maybe 2 or 3 hours. It's gonna get dark. You're probably going to get a third of the way to the mountains before it starts to get dark. You can continue to travel after dark if you wish, or you can pull over and camp. Completely up to you guys.
I instinctively carry on riding as if nothing is different.
Okay, so to progress the story, I mean, while you're riding, if you guys want to continue to chat while you're riding, you can, or we can just progress a little bit further forward. Get to the first camping spot. Because if you don't stop and rest, you will get exhausted. So you will need to stop and rest.
Yes, first camping spot sounds good.
Okay, so we'll move the thing forward. Let's have a quick dice roll here. See if anything
Same old
happens.
story. Hit just follows whoever has that damn mission.
About halfway to what you guys would probably you get about halfway to the Howling Mountains. It's probably just past dark. The moon's come up. It's quite full tonight. You haven't really noticed anything in travel. There's been a few sort of carts and look like travelling merchants on the way. Nothing out of the ordinary.
Hit will always wave.
and hit waves as you go along, freaking people out as he does. So nothing too much happens. Can I get everyone to roll a perception check, please?
You sure can.
17.
17?
Plus whatever perception passive I have.
Your passives are all. You just never, whatever you happen with your passives. Even if you roll under your passive, we'll always use your passive unless you roll a 1.
Ah, very good.
So your
Hit
perception.
rolled a 1.
Hit sees nothing. So your perception will be.
Hit does not have dark vision.
For you, Alessandro, you're a +3 on your roll for perception. So D20 +3.
13.
13. No Maris?
Perception, I think. Is that under the skill?
It's you know where it is. It's under your big list of
Yeah,
things.
okay, well, I got 16 then.
16, cool.
Ah, +1.
+1, so 18. Okay, so Hit is absolutely oblivious. He's too busy waving to people.
Tuning my loot.
The rest of you notice a bit of dark cloud starting to form over the night sky. You can see it sort of starting to block out the stars, and it's sort of coming over the moon a little bit. You can hear distant rumbling of thunder. So there's definitely a storm brewing. You're not sure. You're not sure it's coming your way, but you can definitely see there's a storm coming somewhere. So as you carry on, the next couple of hours, nothing much happens. It's a pretty uneventful ride. You're sort of chatting amongst yourselves, and you reach the by about 1-2 o'clock in the morning. You reach the foot of the Howling Mountains, and a crossroads.
Hit asks Alessandros, excuse me for being personal and prying, but you seem to know of our skills as we introduced ourselves earlier, but what is your current skill set?
Close your eyes and find out.
Well, that's one way to do it.
Do you close your eyes?
I close my eyes.
Pick his pocket.
Roll a sleight of hand check. Baz, roll a perception check. So sleight of hand, Alessandros.
15 total for Hit.
I got 16.
Nice.
Okay, so you. Let's have a roll here. Let's see how much you get. You managed to pickpocket 11 gold from.
He does not. He pickpockets 10 and 89 copper.
That's what we got. Okay, we'll make it 10 gold. So you managed to pickpocket 10 gold from from Het's pocket. So up to you whether you show him that you've picked his pocket or whether you keep it for yourself.
Can I open my eyes now?
Sure, why not?
I open my eyes.
You might
Nothing
want
has
to-
changed.
You might want to keep this in a secure place.
And do you hand it back to him?
Yeah.
Okay. Alessandra's hands back 10 gold to you, and you instinctively go for your purse.
The whole pouch or just the gold itself?
Just the gold. Actually, no, the whole pouch. We'll say we'll say you got the whole pouch.
Yeah.
Well, she got the whole pouch. sorry.
Hit smiles and all his teeth are sticking out as he does, and he's, oh, I like you.
And as Hit smiles, you notice the rows of razor sharp dragon teeth. His smile's more of more of like a, not a growl, but definitely not a smile. It looks very intimidating.
Steam also evaporates out of my mouth as
Yeah.
I smile.
Ooh, can I touch one?
That looks like a sneer to me.
Yeah, a sneer, that's what I was looking for. Thank you. Right, so you guys now have reached the base of the Howling Mountains where you need to make camp. It's getting late. It's sort of, to say, 2:30 in the morning. You need to rest. You're at a crossroads. There's a few trees either side of the crossroads. There's a little bit of a clearing off to the left-hand side of the road if you want to set up camp.
Azalon, what say you about camp?
Is there anywhere with a little bit of shelter? Somewhere
Yeah.
that might save us from
Make a perception check.
perception.
So that would be D20 plus your perception modifier.
I get a 10.
You got a 10. It takes you a little while to sort of look around, and you see there's a few fallen trees that sort of made almost like a natural kind of canopy where you could all fit if you sort of you put a fire in and everything. You'd be sheltered from any heavy rainfall. Not heavy rainfall, but you'd be sheltered from a reasonable rainfall.
That looks like a good spot to me.
Yeah.
I'll take my chances with the tree.
So you let them know that you've found this area and you think it's a good
Yes.
place to camp?
I believe just over here, where you see these fallen trees, you may or may not be able to tell. It's quite dark.
Actually, yes. Who has night vision or dark vision and who doesn't? I know.
I have dark vision.
I know you have dark vision.
It does not.
It doesn't. Dragon Balls don't have dark
We
vision.
do.
Apparently not.
Hang on, just check your sheets.
Which bit do I check for that?
It'll be under your senses.
Under
Aslan,
senses.
yeah, Aslan does.
Nope.
It does not. Alessandra does not. And Maris does not. So you're the only one with dark vision. So it's dark. So you guys,
It is definitely dark.
you guys can't see anything. So
Actually hit.
the only one.
Cast light on the head of his loot.
Okay, so go ahead and cast light, which lights up what's the radius on that?
Oh no. Oh no. Hit pulls the loot out and goes, drawn by quest for fire, and the loot end lights up.
Awesome.
It lights up a 20-foot sphere.
20-foot
from the
sphere?
head of the loot.
So 20-foot sphere, you've got good lighting for those that have no dark vision. For you, Aslan, you can obviously see further than that. You've got a 60-foot radius of dark vision as well. So another 60 foot beyond that, you've got dim light. So you've spotted the trees. You lead the group with the aid of Hit's loot light towards the trees, and you set up camp. You build a fire. Who wants to make a survival check to see how long it takes you to light the fire?
Yeah, I'll do that. What is it? Nature?
Right, I'll do it.
Survival check. If you want to aid each other, we can either have both roll and take the highest, or one can roll with advantage.
I got 19.
19 for survival. What's your survival modifier?
0.
You rolled a natural 19. Holy
Yeah.
shit! Well, you guys are quite surprised how deftly and quickly Namaris gathers a whole bunch of wood and sets up some stones and stacks it all up, and then using her sword and a flint, sparks off this fire, and it just within minutes it's just roaring fire, nice and warm. You're able to sit around it and keep warm as the night here starts to get cold. You guys.
Hit pats her on the shoulder and says, "Well done."
Sorry, I quite thought that your little trick there with your loot was rather awesome, I have to say.
Well, thank you. It is what I trained to do.
Awesome.
I think Neymaris might quite like Hit because he reminds her a little bit of him.
Awesome. So do you all decide to sleep, or is someone going to stand watch? Are you going to take turns?
I volunteer to take first watch.
So Aslan's going to take first watch. Anyone going to
I will
stay?
take second watch.
Anyone going to start with him, or are you going to just take one at a time?
No, I'm going to sleep.
You going to sleep? So Alessandros.
If that's the case, Hit will stay up because we don't really know each other that well. I'd rather have
Okay.
two on watch.
So Aslan and Het stay up, take first watch. Neymaris and Alessandros, you find your sleep for the evening. So guys, while you're anything you want to discuss while you're on watch?
If the fire's going, I'd like to turn out my light now.
Yes, fire is going. You've got light from the fire.
So I just play a little blackened in the air and
Awesome.
Man, there are people trying to sleep.
Well,
just quietly.
you played it quietly.
Like the acoustic version.
Shut up, go to sleep.
Apologies.
If you want, that'll get you sleep quite well.
Typical barbarian. I'll get both you guys to roll perception checks as well. Hit with disadvantage because you can't really see beyond. You can't really see beyond the firelight.
Natural one.
Through,
That's 3 tonight.
through the course, what'd you get, Aslan?
13.
13. So as you guys sit there and just sort of chatter away and watch the firelight, Hit, you see fucking nothing. You're enthralled by the firelight, and you're sort of
It's
just
a
sitting there
damn
playing your
lack
loot.
of dark vision.
You're sitting there playing your loot and just sort of staring away into the fire. Aslan, you hear a few of the night sounds you'd expect to hear, the animals and things, the far off wolves sort of howling into the night, owls, things like that, just general forest noises. Nothing untoward happens through your shift. So yeah, that's your guys' watch has come to an end. So you guys wake up, Alessandros and Neymaris, and swap.
Excellent. I shall bed down. Thank you, ladies.
I'm just gonna march around the camp just to make sure we're all good, okay?
Right, so and it's still dark, so the fire's still going. You need to sort of keep it stoked up throughout the night to keep it going. Can you both make a perception check with disadvantage, because you can only see sort of can't really see beyond the firelight.
So what do I do for disadvantage?
Just roll twice and take the lower. So D20 plus your perception. 7. And Alessandros?
I can see shit.
15.
15. As you're walking around, Neymaris, you're hearing, because it's dark, your hearing sort of kicks in, and you can hear the forest animals as well. You hear something a little bit closer. It sounded of a good size, but it obviously noticed the firelight didn't come any closer, and sort of, again, nothing really happens. You guys basically just have a really uneventful night. You've all gotten your rest. Alessandros, you probably noticed a few more creatures than Neymaris did, but again, nothing out of the ordinary, nothing you wouldn't expect to hear throughout the night.
How have the horses been during your sleep? Have they been
The
sleeping?
horses have been fine. They've been tied up, and again, a little restless from time to time with night animals, but they're all good. So morning comes. You guys are rested. It's probably about 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. Sun's on its way up. So first light. Fire's sort of still smouldering away. It's not in full flame, but it's still heat there if you wanted to stoke it up and make yourself a hot breakfast or whatever you want to do before you head out.
And I tell everyone, make sure you got all your valuables.
Alright, I just
You're gonna be one of those characters.
I look at Alessandrus and I say, if you've got any of mine, you best be giving them back now, my lovely.
Roll an intimidation check.
I got 8.
You got 8.
Not very intimidating today. I have to
Yeah,
say.
you're sort of still half asleep, and it didn't really come across the way you intended it to. But Alessandrus, you did notice that when Neymaris did say this to you, her eyes sort of glowed for a split second. There was this real strange sort of glow to her eyes, and that sort of unnerved you a little bit.
Cool. Stepping back now.
All right. So, what are you guys wanting to do? You gonna?
We're gonna have a look through the rations, see if there's anything worth cooking.
Well, you've all got your own rations. You've got rations that you had in your dungeons, in your packs when you first set out. Standard rations, day's rations, will get you through.
Are there any berries or anything around here that I can pick?
Make a perception check. Investigation, sorry.
I rolled a 6.
You have a look around, and the only berries that you can find are not berries. They look like berries, but they don't smell like berries, and they're a little bit larger to be berries. You're not quite sure what they are, but they don't smell very nice.
I think I'll just leave those there then. Although we
You could try. You could taste one if you want.
I don't know if I want to. Are they near the horses?
No, a little bit away from the horses.
Can I support?
If you want to investigate to see what they are, sure. Roll an investigation check. Actually, roll a nature check.
Oh, do I have to do that too?
No, yours was just investigation to see if you could find anything. What was your roll?
Nature is -1.
So,
I got a natural 20 though.
well, natural 20. That'll give you even with the -1. You look at them and you smell them before you see them, and yeah, they're goat droppings. You know exactly what they are.
Yeah, that's not food.
It might have been once.
Before it left the goat,
Once.
yes.
Yeah.
She does make a valid point.
But thank you. We don't think I'll be able to
Right, so again, for the sake of the story, we've probably only got another hour and a half to go. So, you finish your breakfast, you put out the fire like good citizens do. You don't want to start a forest fire. You get back onto the road, and now you got a choice. You've got a left and a right fork. There's a sign there. One sign says to Gatton, which is is the city that Riffin spoke to you about, being on the eastern shores of Gatton Lake, and the other one says Lazy Forest, which will lead you directly to the forest region of the Lazy Woods, which is where you need to go to collect your quarry.
Well, I guess, what do you say, team? Are we going into the Lazy Wood?
It's still it's still going to take you a couple of days to get there. You've travelled about just over a third of the way with the extra travel into the night.
I quite like the forest, so it sounds good to me.
I think we should do an inventory check and see how much food we have.
That's a good idea.
It's going to be a few days. I don't want to run out of food and then have to, try and wrestle snakes.
Yeah, I mean, we can eat animals. I have 4 days of rations.
4 days of rations. That's pretty good.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
not too bad.
No.
That's pretty good. Let's see what you got. You should have
Most of the
something.
packs you start with.
That I've started.
You've got 1 day. You've got 1 day of ration. You got 10 days of rations.
So I got
Aslan?
10.
Oh, it says 1 on my screen.
Yeah, that's if you look at that says
Yeah,
1 day
yes.
rations, but if you go over to the second column, you've got 20
Second
pounds,
column.
and it says 10, so you got quantity 10. So you've actually got 10. You've got 10 days of
We're
rations.
fine. I'm good for food.
We can always hunt. It's easy to hunt. With
It
these
is
big
easy
claws
to
that we all have. Oh, just me.
Sorry, I like to smash things.
I've got extended reach, you know.
Yep.
I'm good.
Excellent.
Right. So you've
Lazy
sorted your
bastards.
rations. You've gone through your bags. You've discovered you've got plenty of food to get you through the journey. And you know there's a city nearby as well if you have to go restock, and you can also hunt. There's fishing. Obviously, you've got a lake close to you as well. So back on the road again. What pace you're going to travel at a slow, fast, or medium pace?
We'd say let's keep going at a medium pace, because that way we
Medium
don't wear
pace
the road.
does. Seems to
Medium
be doing as well
pace.
so far.
That would be
Cool.
agreed on my part as well.
So as you're traveling at a medium pace, you're able to talk as you travel. Again, the day, another pretty nice day. The cloud that you saw during the night seems to have sort of burnt off. It didn't really come to anything. Along your travels, you're now sort of coming up, and on your sort of northern side will be the right-hand side of the road you're traveling on. You can see the in the distance the shores of a large lake, and you sort of, your understanding is that would be Lake Gatton, which is on your way to where you're traveling. As you keep going through the day, again you notice a few people on the road coming the other way, general travellers, horse and cart. You see a few small farms in the distance as you're travelling through. Can I get everyone to
Do a
roll
perception check
a
to
perception?
see if any of the travellers we pass are people I recognise.
You can, sure thing.
That's a good call.
I got 17.
14.
14. You don't recognise anyone. I mean, you're generally not from this area yourself. I mean, you've been in this area once or twice before, but you don't really recognise anyone's faces. They're all pretty common people, common farmers, common travellers, people moving to and from sort of Gatton and around sort of villages that are around the area to and from Verland. There's a bastion keep to the south.
Are there people in the villages?
There's always people in villages. You haven't.
Would that make them
you
the
haven't-
village people?
It would. It would indeed. But no, you don't really notice anyone that stands out to you at this stage.
I feel a small pang of disappointment. But continue on.
No worries. You do as you come. So you're getting now to about lunchtime again. Lunchtime, 1 o'clock. Do you guys want to stop? There is a small village ahead of you. If you wanted to stop and water the horses, or you want to just pull over on the side of the road and have a rest, or you want to carry on.
I'm keen to carry on. How about everyone else?
I'm happy to keep going.
There's not much in the villages. It's only a few small hovels.
If we stop, we shall only get stuck shopping and never get back to our mission.
Can we just run past something that's gonna give these horses a wee drink?
You can. There is a trough in the village. Water is a watering trough for horses.
Don't
That
even
seems
need to
fair.
ask them, but
That
they
does
feel
seem
that
fair.
They're a bit thirsty. It's been
All
a
right.
bit hard.
So you stop at the village and the people, they're a bit skittish. They sort of keep to themselves. They don't really approach you guys, especially when they see Het and Namaris sort of come up on these giant fucking horses and get down and get. I mean, a dragonborn, white dragonborn, and a giant of a woman. And these huge horses sort of stopping. They're a little bit freaked out by it, so they sort of keep to themselves. No one really says anything. They don't really do anything. They just sort of let you go about your business. You water your horses, and again, ready to go. I mean, you can probably water yourselves at the same trough if you really want to. Or you probably all
Yes,
got
I
water
shall
skins.
fill my water skin here at the trough.
Yeah, the water's not the greatest, but it's drinkable. I mean, the horses drank it.
Anyone close to the trough?
Water's water.
Well, you're all close to the trough. You're all watering your horses and refilling your water containers or water skins.
I'll give it a splash over my face just to refresh myself.
Yeah, it's a bit smelly, but it does the trick.
I'll accidentally bump Hit into the trough.
You gotta try and bump Hint. Okay, make a strength check. Hit, make a acrobatics or athletics. You make the choice.
Doesn't make a difference. 13.
What was your strength check?
You don't want to know.
What was your strength check?
5.
5. You sort of walk
So
over.
I
You walk.
do weigh 357
Yeah, so you walk over casually towards Hit, and you sort of just stand there, and you go to sort of shoulder bump him into the trough, and as you do, you sort of you get caught on one of the dragon scales, and it really fucking hurts. It's like, oh fuck, it jars your shoulder a little bit, and Hit sort of just turns and gives you a look.
Sorry, it's my fault.
I turn and I say, never mind. I put my arm on his shoulder and give him a squeezy hug. her shoulder.
And it hurts like a son of a bitch.
Okay, you can let go now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I turn around and look at you two and go, what are you doing?
It's called bonding. Would you like some?
Did you just say bonded? What's bonded?
No. I mean, I am in leathers, but no. We just know each other.
I mount my horse.
Right.
I really think we should be moving on, guys.
Azalin is correct. I slap Alexandros on the shoulder.
And make a strength check.
Friendly gesture.
Make a strength check. And Alessandros make an athletic check.
12.
I go ass over tits.
What was your number?
I rolled a 2.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a friendly gesture, but as Hit sort of slams you on the shoulder, not realizing his own strength, or maybe not realizing his own strength, you just flat on your face in the mud right in front of the trough.
I'm so sorry, it was meant as a friendly gesture. I pick her back up.
Yeah, Alessandra gets up. She's covered in mud. It's all in her face, and it's just
Apologies,
she's
apologies,
a
I didn't
mess.
mean-
I just put my head in my hand.
Face palm.
Face palm.
I'm just looking at these two, wondering if there's going to be a fight that's really need to get involved.
Well, it's up to you.
I
If you
made
want
my
to.
apologies. I hope
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
accepted, Alexandros.
I get it.
Pick
Right.
Alishon up and put her on her horse and give Hit a look. Say, what are you doing?
All right, so everyone back on their horses.
Hang on. I get up from the mud, wipe the mud from my face, and occasionally flick it towards the mud.
Oh
Roll to attack. Roll an attack. D20 plus your attack modifier.
Who does that?
Alessandros. This is just because she's slinging mud at you.
That's the initiative, yeah?
No, just roll a D20, and then add for you will be under your attacks or your actions. Sorry, so it'll be a +4.
Okay, so that's 15.
15. What's your armor class? No, Mars.
14.
So she hits you with the mud right in the face,
God.
like whack, poof, right in the face, and it's just like this big, it's a mixture of mud and fucking horse shit and water, and right
He
fear in the
sees what's
face.
going on and gets on his horse.
At this point, I'm getting a little bit sick of this shit, so I turn around and I grab her.
What are you gonna do? You just gonna grab her?
Just gonna grab her and then throw her on her horse.
Make a strength check.
17.
Yeah. You pick Alessandra up by her shoulders, like your big massive hands right on her shoulders. You just pick her up and place her on a horse, and just give her this look. It's like, don't do that again.
But it was an
Now
accident.
we're gonna be in serious trouble. You hear me?
It was an accident.
Lighten up, Nemaris. It's just a bit of fun. Just a bit of. You know what fun is?
Standing there scratching my head.
He gives a wink to Alessandros.
I go
Oh,
up
that's awesome, guys.
and just wipe the shit off my face, and then look at her and look at the other two and go, get on my horse.
And as she does this, as she gets on a horse, you guys sort of look over her and you can see this hint of red in her eyes. That glow's still there, but there's just a hint of red with it now. And you sort of you're a little bit unnerved by it and intrigued at the same time.
Hit makes a note. Humor low on Nemaris.
All right, guys. So back on our horses, we're heading off again towards essentially you're in the Lazy Woods now. But Riffin, he marked on your map whereabouts in the Lazy Woods you're most likely to find the giant weasels and the snakes, and you know you've got a little bit of travelling to do. Maybe another day. You might. I mean, it's getting late in the day now. You're probably about 2-3 in the afternoon. So again, do you want to make a bit more headway and travel through into the early evening, or do you want to camp at dusk and set out first thing the next morning? Up to you guys.
I think if we're in the Lazy Woods, it would make sense to me that as we travel towards our ultimate destination, we keep an eye out to see if there are any of the creatures we seek on our way.
You can do that.
So we should slow our pace then, maybe.
If you want to slow your pace, and I'll get everyone to make an investigation check, looking for weasels and snakes.
Natural 20.
Natural 20.
Nice.
What did you roll, Namaris?
2.
Namaris is still fuming about the mud that was on her face, and she's completely distracted.
Hit gets an 8.
Hit, you're kind of still giggling to yourself about the events previous, and again slightly sidetracked by it.
Giving Alessandros a thumbs up.
Alessandros, what did you roll in your investigation check?
20.
220, a natural 20 and a was it the 20 total?
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. So the 220s, you guys, you're looking around and you're looking for any signs of weasels or snakes. There's plenty of tracks around that you can see from lots of different animals. You can't hear any snakes. You can't hear any hissing or anything like that. You don't really see in this part of the forest any weasels or smaller creatures. You do notice some larger game though. It looks like there's tracks from what possibly looks like maybe a dire wolf or a pack of wolves. There's possibly tiger tracks as well, or some large cat in the area, but nothing really too small. You seem to think this area of the forest is more probably your larger game, and you probably find most of your small games being hunted out, or at very least just not around this time of day.
I relay that information to Het and Namaris.
No problem.
Maybe large, angry beasties that like to bite you.
Well, I like to bite back, but that's fine. We'll keep our eyes out for the Is it getting dark?
By now, because you slowed your pace, you're probably getting into about 4 or 5 o'clock. It's probably
That
just.
explains why I haven't seen anything.
It's just starting to the sun's just starting to go down, so you're going into the sort of that purples and reds in the sky, so that your vision, for those that don't have dark vision, your vision will be becoming limited. So any kind of perception checks or investigations now will be at disadvantage. Because of your dark vision, Aslan, I would assume you'd be in the front,
Yes.
and sort of leading them along the journey still. Again, up to you whether you want to camp soon or carry on into the night, knowing that your companions don't have any kind of night vision?
Hey, Mars.
Hit will grab out his loot. Sorry.
That's alright. I just said hey. Name's getting hungry.
No, he's getting hungry.
Hit will grab out his loot as it darkens, riding in the order of probably the third horse down, if everyone's happy, and he will play "Hit the Lights," da, 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 and the end of the loot will light up again. The
Awesome.
I like that song. I really like that song.
You like that
Yeah,
song?
it's a bit of a goer.
Are you trying to inspire your team with this song, or are you just casting the spell?
Just casting light.
No worries.
I still think.
I do not want to waste inspiration until it is needed.
Exactly. So, again, up to you guys. Do you want to carry on into the night and make a bit of headway, or do you want to camp and start out fresh in the morning?
Yes, making headway seems like a good idea.
How many days are we in?
You're into your second day. You probably got one more day, or maybe a day's travel before you get to the mark on the map.
All right, we'll make headway.
Make headway.
I suggest making headway, carrying on at
Carrying on.
a slow pace.
But I'm going to take out a little bit of my food. And
Yep,
some of
just
that
mark
as
off
well.
one of your rations. Anyone who wants to eat, just mark off one of your rations as you're travelling. You're running it. You're at a slow enough pace you can eat and drink while you're travelling. It's not a problem. It is getting a little cold. So it's not cold enough where you're going to suffer any kind of hypothermia or anything. But it's as the sun goes down, it does cool off.
It does not notice.
No, he wouldn't. So it's now getting dark. So again, I'll get everyone to roll a perception check. The three of you without dark vision at disadvantage, even with the
I have the light up.
even with the light, your vision beyond that light is diminished.
No
18.
problem.
What was that, Aslan?
18.
18.
I
Cool.
rolled an 18, but I can't remember what to look for.
No, you roll twice and take the lower at disadvantage. Because it's also about hearing and that as well. So
I see Namarus's hairy butt.
I don't know if you've seen Namiris's hairy butt. That would be the horse.
Yeah, that's
Hit rolled a 3.
Oh wow! So Hit's just focused on his loot, and is quite happy just playing his loot and keeping the light going. Aslan, you
Ding, ding, ding,
you get
ding.
you can see most things are running around. You see a few animals in and around the trees. You hear much the same as you did the night before. There's nothing really standing out. A few growls and howls from wolves and big cats, which you'd expected after seeing the tracks earlier in the day. By this time, you're coming up now to, again, about 3 o'clock in the morning. You've made some extra ground. You sort of estimate, well, Aslan, you'd estimate from the map and how far you've possibly travelled that it'd probably take you half a day to 3/4 of a day to get to your destination or get to the area marked on the map. So
Very good.
it's up to you guys whether now you want to try and find somewhere to camp. You also notice off to your northwest too, which would be again the right-hand side of the road. You're a lot closer to the lake's edge now. It's probably within, I'd say, probably 200 or 300 yards. You can see, Aslan, you'd see it for before anyone else would even notice it. It's just the edge of the lake.
Do the trees go right to the edge of the lake?
They do in some places. There are some places it looks like it has a bit of a clearing, but for the most
There's
part,
a small clearing near the lake. It may be a decent place to stop for the night.
do you want to go and check it out?
I think that sounds wise.
All right,
I will follow Aslan and help him check it out.
So you lead the group towards the clearing. It is indeed a clearing. You as you walk up through the trees. The forest is not really thick. There's a lot of trees in it, but they're fairly well spread, easy enough to walk through. Not a lot of ground brush or anything like that. You're not talking sort of heavy, thick native forest. It's more just a tree based forest with a bit of ground cover, nothing huge. You get to the clearing and you sort of, it's a natural clearing. nothing really here. It's reasonably open, but you've got plenty of shelter from the trees leading back to the road, and fresh water, obviously, with the lake. Easily enough for you guys to build a quick shelter if you wanted to, or if you had a tent. I don't know if anyone's got a tent in their pack, but it wouldn't be hard to build a makeshift shelter out of fallen logs and branches and stuff that you find lying around on the forest floor.
I think a makeshift shelter seems good.
Who wants to make a survival check to see how fast you can slap something together?
I can do that.
All right.
I
Do
can
anyone want to
support.
assist?
I will leave it to the two who look like they
Roll
know what
with
they're doing.
advantage. Roll with advantage, Damaris.
The 12.
To 12. Takes you a little while. I'd say
What one was that? Survival?
survival, yes.
Yeah, 12.
Did you roll it with advantage?
Yeah.
So it probably takes you about half hour, 40 minutes, but you get something built.
Did she need a hand?
You can give me a hand if you like, but don't throw anything at me because there will be trouble.
Aslan had already assisted in the collection of stuff, so it was built. Yeah, it was. You got something built. It's functional. It's not flash. Definitely, it probably wouldn't last too long, but it'll serve the night. Again, it won't survive any heavy rain or high winds, but it'll definitely keep you shelter this evening. And same again for the fire. Who wants to light the fire?
I can give that a go.
Okay. Anyone want to assist?
I'll assist if you like.
So roll a survival with advantage.
So that
Not you, Namaris. This is Aslan's roll.
18.
18. Almost as deftly as Namaris did the night before. You gather your bits and pieces, your little bits of wood and your tinder, and again using your dagger and a piece of flint, you strike that fire, and away she goes. She's blazing good. Keep you warm for the night. Keep at bay any wild animals.
Well done, Alzilin. Hit is impressed.
I take first watch.
I'll take first watch as well.
So Aslan and Alessandra's taking first watch.
All right. Well, it seems like I'll be getting some sleep then.
So as the boys take their rest, the two ladies stay awake. Is there anything you guys want to do while you're awake?
I'm just going to talk to Alessandras and say, why did you throw that mud at me?
You need to speak up. You're speaking too
I'm
quietly.
gonna say to Alessandras, why did you throw that mud at me earlier? That kind of hurt my feelings a little bit.
Mud? What mud? I don't know of any mud. Had mud on my face. Is that what you're talking about?
At this point, I just scratch my head and look at her and go, oh, right, okay, and I thought I was thick. Oh, never mind.
Put that.
See what we can hear, shall we?
You put that dog outside.
You go wander around. I'll look after the two boys.
I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Namaris takes off and goes to walk a perimeter. So
I'm doing Snoopies.
Snoopies. Okay, what do you want a Snoopy at?
I'll have everybody's pack.
Well, Chandra's has probably got her pack with. Did you take your pack with you, or no? Okay? So whose pack do you want to go through first?
We'll go through hits.
Hits. Okay, so roll a sleight of hand check, and let me know what the answer is.
Natural 20. So
Holy shit! Yeah, Hit has no clue. Like, you go through his bag.
Hit's pack is lying beside him because he doesn't sleep with it on his back.
You know what I mean. He goes through his pack. Hit. What does Alessandra's find in your pack?
Well, I have a bedroll, which I'm sleeping on, and a blanket, so you won't see those. Candle, crossbow bolts, some clothes, some more clothes. One's a costume, a bit of a get-up. A light crossbow, a dagger. A disguise kit, a long sword, a lute. That's kind of big, I guess. It's not in my pack. Some mason's tools, a potion of healing, standard healing, 4 days of rations, and a water skin.
Cool. I'm on to the next pack.
All right. So who's the next one you're looking at?
As you am.
Aslan's. Again, roll another sleight of hand.
I got 19 for that.
19 for that one.
2 good rolls. Oh,
Yeah, wow. Yeah, no, Aslan doesn't notice that either. Being asleep, your passive perception's not high enough to So, Aslan, what is in your pack?
Most of the standard stuff. Got my mess kit, my food, bit of rope, tinderbox, torch, in case you want to go on any night walks. And where is it? Other possessions. A small singed music box. Ornately carved. As if by a lonesome, unique trader.
Cool. Okay. Leave it alone.
Leave him alone. Okay, and you're going to go on to Namaris's pack. She's still walking around. She's walking the perimeter. She's not too far away, but she's you can still try if you want.
Yeah, I'll give it a shot.
You give it a shot. So again, roll a sleight of hand. Namaris, roll a perception check. Just a straight roll because he's in light of the fire, so you'd be able to see it.
13.
13. And what was yours, Namaris?
Is 17.
As you're walking around the fire, you notice Alessandros open the flap of your pack and start rifling through it.
What you think you're doing there, young lady?
Something crawled out of it.
Oh, right. What kind of something?
I don't know. It's gone. I swear.
Alright then. Do you want to see what I've got? I've got some really cool dice in there.
You don't want to make an insight check at all? No? You're just going to believe what she says?
I am, because my insight's
Fair enough. There you go, carry on.
So I've got some dice in there if you'd like to play a game.
That'd be awesome. What kind of dice game?
I don't know. We could play, I don't know.
What you can do if you want to play a dice game?
I've never heard of that one.
What we can do is you take 3d6 each. You roll it. Don't say what they are, and then you can wager. Just almost like poker, so you can wager whatever you want to wager on the roll, raise or call, and then I'll explain how it goes after that.
Yeah, grab another d6.
You got 3d6 there, Trash?
Yeah, and rolled.
Sweet. So roll your 3d6, Namaris. Right, so you've rolled your dice. Who wants to make the first wager?
I'm kind of just looking you up and down. I'm thinking, I'll do it. I'll go 2 silver.
2 silver. So, Alessandra, you'll have to match that. So it'll be a 4 silver pot.
Yep.
And do you wish to raise?
Nah.
No? So you're going to sit. Okay. Choose one of your dice and re-roll.
Alright, done that.
Again, you can now make Trashy. You can make another bet now. Your first bet. We've got a 4 silver pot.
1 silver.
1 silver. So you match it. So it's now 6 silver pot. You wish to raise, Namaris?
I'll just match that.
So you'll call.
Yeah.
So we'll leave it at that. So you'll call. So what's your total dice? The total number on your 3 dice, Namaris.
I look a little bit confused and I'm using my hands, but I'm like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I don't have to move on to my.
Wait, so 10. What was the total of your dice, Trash? Alexandre.
Give me a sec.
You only have to add 3 dice together.
12.
So you win, basically. So you just won 6 silver. So mark off 3 silver off your inventory, Nemaris. And I'll get you both to roll a perception check as well.
Hang on, 1 gold equals 10 silver pieces.
Yeah. If you just want us to silver off, it'll automatically do it for you.
Okay.
That's a great thing about D&D Beyond. Yeah.
That's good to know. I did not know that.
3.
I
Just
did not know that either.
you only put 3 in the pot, so you only take -3. But yeah, no. If you just take off the silver or copper, it just automatically calculates it. Great.
Sweet.
But it didn't.
It should, if you did it properly.
90 gold.
If you go to copper down where it says adjust currency,
Yeah.
and then put in 3 silver, sorry,
I did that already, and then I hit remove.
and then remove, it should automatically take away 1 gold and turn it into silver.
Nope.
Oh,
I'll try that
you'll have to manually do it then. It's supposed to do it automatically. Oh, you did it in the wrong place, that's why. Hang on, I'll do it for you.
I've done that.
No, it didn't do it. That's easy enough. Just make yourself 89 gold and 10 silver.
And I've got 4 silver.
7 silver. Then you have to take off 3. Because you only put 3 in the pot. Anywho. So I'll get you guys to make a perception check for your watch. Both with disadvantage because you can only see with the firelight.
Be my natural 1 make any difference at all?
Natural 1. Really? You don't see a goddamn thing. You
I
two.
think I might be snoring already.
No, you're still awake, but you're still a bit not upset, but you're still a little concerned that Alexandros was going through your pack. Alexandros, what was your perception?
15.
15. And you again you see that those night noises. You hear a few closer growls, and the howling of wolves. They're a little bit closer than you heard the previous night. Obviously, being closer and in the woods, you sort of hear that. But apart from that, you don't really have anything happen. So you guys take your sleep, and you wake the boys up for their watch.
Oh, excellent. Oh, I feel absolutely recuperated.
No, not really. Well, you kind of do. Technically, you do.
I just take a look at Het.
Before I go to sleep, Het, no music.
I will do my best to keep it down.
I quite like a little lullaby before he goes to sleep.
Well, I'll just play a little lullaby then, just before everyone goes to sleep there.
Make a performance check.
I play Into Sandman. Exit light. Oh yeah, that's good.
Now lay me down to sleep.
23.
23. Yeah, that's perfect. It is in key, perfect timing. The vocals are spot on, and
Yeah.
Nemaris loves it. She's tapping her feet to it, and then as she's tapping her feet, she drifts off to sleep. Alexandros is kind of pissed off, but you take no notice because you're having fun. Song finishes, and Alexandros begrudgingly turns over and goes to sleep. And Nemaris is heavily snoring over by her side of the fire. Thanks for that sound effect there. So what are you guys going to do during your watch?
Well, I'm going to nibble on a little bit of food.
A bit of food. No worries.
Het will also nibble on a bit of food since he did not eat too much the last rest.
No
Doesn't want to
problem.
get caught with his pants down.
So, anything you guys want to talk about while you're on watch, or are you just going to sit in silence and sit throughout the next 2 or 3 hours before the sun comes up?
I will ask one question, mumbling through the night anyway as I keep watch, but one question that's been bothering me. Aslan, is your name pronounced Aslan like I say it, or is it Aslan like I hear the others saying?
You're the only one getting it right.
Thank you very much.
Azulan, yes, you are correct.
Aslan, I like it. It's a good name, a good, strong, proud name.
Thank you.
I notice you're a man of few words, but what you do say is straight to the point.
That's how I prefer to work.
Yes, unfortunately I do a lot of talking. You'll get used to that.
Typical
I'm
Dragonborn.
okay with it.
Well, shall we keep an eye on things while these two sleep, eh?
Make your perception checks. Hit at disadvantage.
13.
13.
It's a little bit of 4.
You're not doing too well tonight, man.
It is what it is, disadvantage.
It is, definitely. Again, uneventful evening. It's the animal sounds are a lot louder because you're right in the heart of the forest now. The sound of the water sort of lapping the edges of the lake. As the sun sort of comes up, you start sort of seeing in the distance a few fishing boats out on the lake now. Obviously coming from the town of the city of Gatton. I'd say it's probably one of its main. You sort of kind of figure it might be one of its main sort of businesses, being a lake city. There'll be a lot of freshwater fish, and it's a big lake. So, but the morning sun rises. An otherwise uneventful evening, apart from the loud snoring from Neymaris, which and the occasional fart here and there. Just sort of as she's sleeping. So you guys come to wake, or Aslan and Het wake you guys up. It's morning time, ready to head out.
Righto, team. Are we ready to head out then?
Man, I just need to have a cup of coffee.
Come on, and I give her a tap on the shoulder. Come on, lady.
So you pack up. For sake of the story, we're getting close. We've got about 40 minutes to go. You come to rest. You have something to eat. You make yourself some coffee if you've got coffee, or some form of hot drink for the morning. Put out your fire. You get yourself organised. You get back onto your horses and you head on towards the northeast and towards the marker on the map, which Riffin gave you for your quarry for this trial. You're now into your third day. Can I get everyone? You travel for about 2, maybe 3 hours, and I get everyone to make a perception check, please.
12.
12.
Het gets 18.
18 from the Dragonborn.
Finally.
Speak up, lady. I can't hear you.
I get 8.
8. Is Saunders?
7.
7. Dragonborn, Het, you notice it first. Out of the corner of your left, your eye on your left, you see a flash of white and brown fur. A rather large rodent sort of darted in amongst the trees. Aslan, you almost
down and
you also
crouch down
spied
and I
it.
sort of wave my hands to the people to show them, in a symbol of getting down without making noise.
You're on your horse. You can't crouch down.
Oh, God damn it, I am too.
You can crouch down on your horse if you want, but
I get carefully off the horse and do the same thing.
Okay, so you get off the horse. Just obviously let them know that you're stopping.
I make my fingers to my eyes and then I point into where I saw.
Typical. So Aslan, you noticed it as well. A little bit after, as soon as you saw Het get down off his horse and sort of look in that direction, you noticed the same thing. You hear that movement and you sort of the fur you can sort of just see through the trees.
I whisper to Aslan, I think that might be a weasel.
I think you might be right.
So
Is it a giant weasel?
it looked pretty big. It definitely wasn't anything small, and it definitely made a noise. Like you all heard it, but Het and Aslan, you heard it and saw it before the others.
How far away would you say it is, DM?
I would say probably within 40 or 50 feet of the road, maybe 60
I put
feet.
my hand on Aslan's shoulders and I speak in poetic form. Well, my friend, if you're going to die with your boots on. And I give him bardic inspiration.
Bardic inspiration. What is that? D10?
That is
D8. I think
that is a D6.
D6 at level 1. No worries. So
D6 at level 1.
So you now got a D6.
You can use it for an attack roll or a saving throw. You can add it to.
There you go.
Oh, nice.
So you have bardic inspiration. So what are you guys going to do? You're going to get off your horses and investigate?
Yes.
That sounds like a
Be
good
dismounted.
Right,
Yes.
you dismounted.
idea. Can I just ask, do these weasels look like they might be friendly?
Well, you haven't seen it, so you don't know.
Oh.
Right, so as you get off your horses, if you guys are looking at the stream, what's the order of your travelling?
So I guess I would be right next to Aslan as we spotted the beastie.
Yep. So you guys would be in the front.
Yes.
You guys would be behind. So travelling that way. So off to this side here that you saw the flash of fur. Probably about 50 or 60 feet into the woods.
Very good.
Excellent.
So what would you like to do?
I would like to move towards those trees.
Towards the trees.
A semi-stealthy position by a tree.
Right, actually, before you do that, you want to go semi-stealthy? Roll a stealth check at disadvantage because of your armor.
Yes.
Oh dear.
Ooh, what is my stealth? +1. So, 17.
Shit, that's a good roll. That's a good roll with disadvantage. Holy crap. We're looking at here. Right, so 17. Everyone else make a stealth check as well. Might as well.
I will follow behind him, but yes. 19 for hit.
19 for hit.
17.
Ooh, high stealth rolls. Nice. Right, so how far do you want to move forward? Sort of just into the tree line?
Hit wants to be 10 foot behind Aslan.
Wrong one. Aslan goes to the tree line, hit behind there. Alshonderson and Amaris, you guys want to just follow up the rear for now?
No, I'll go around the tree line to the... Yeah, about there.
About there?
Yep. Flanking maneuver.
Right, and Alish and Namaris, what are you doing?
I smell a fight ahead, so I might just jump right on in there and go up by Hit.
You want to go straight up? Up by Aslan?
Oh no, up by Aslan.
Yep, that's Aslan. Right, so as Aslan, since you're the one in the front there, and as you move into the tree line, you spot about 25 or 30 feet in front of you, just in the trees, you spy a couple of giant weasels.
Very good. Very good.
And they haven't noticed you. as far as you can tell. They're grazing on the grass. One sort of nibbling around the bottom of a tree. Just chilling.
Would like to ready one of my hand axes.
Want to ready a hand axe? So you're going to hold the action? And what?
For throwing.
You're going to hold the action for throwing, okay.
At the one sort of in the clear line of sight.
Yeah.
Or clearer line of sight.
So what are you going to hold the action for? What's your trigger? Or do you just want to throw it?
I'm just going to throw it.
Just throw it. Make an attack roll.
Attack roll with the hand axe is 1d6. That's a 9. 4 plus 3.
No, yeah, it hits +5. Your hand axe.
You roll a d20 to hit first.
Yeah, so d20 +5 is your hit die.
d20 plus 5. That's a 19.
19. That hits.
Nice.
So now you roll for damage, which is a 1d6 plus 3.
Yes. I get a 6.
So you got a 6. Is that 6 total or 3 plus 3? So you get a 6. Okay, so that yeah, wow. Okay, so that weasel definitely notices you. I'll get everyone now to roll initiative, just so we got an initiative order.
Head gets 19.
12.
Just give me 1 second, guys. Let's roll for the creatures first. And hit gets 19, was it?
Correct.
And Aslan was a 12.
Yes.
Nemaris,
16.
16. Alessandros,
14.
Good rolls.
I think we did quite well there.
and Ezra's 14 for you. 12 for you. So, what we got there? It works. So the first weasel takes 6 points of damage. Right, so that make a quick perception check. The other weasels now notice as well. He's turned and he's heard the other weasel take damage, and he's turned to see what's going on. And he's now spotted you. So we'll go to the top of the initiative order. Hit, you get first attack with the initiative of 19.
Hit wants to know how far the weasels are from him. About 30 feet from my view, but
5,
is it
10, 15, 30, 35 feet for the one directly in front of Aslan, and 5, 10, 20, about the same, about 30, 35 feet.
I pull forth my lute and I sing, "Infinite dreams, you can't deny them." And I cast sleep, and I get.
You cast sleep on which weasel?
It covers the amount of dice I roll, the amount of hit points within a 20-foot space if they were within 20 feet of each other.
They certainly are.
So I must roll now. I'm at a few d6 here. I'm just reading my instructions. Okay, the spell ends when I'm 5d8 worth of hit points that I can make go to sleep. So here we go. I'm rolling some d8s.
Alright, so you got to roll roll all above the hit points.
I rolled 19 in total hit points.
Yeah, they're both.
19.
You watch as both weasels sort of stand there, and then all of a sudden you watch their eyes sort of blink and blink again, and then they sort of just fall into a slumber, both sleeping, not moving.
Okay, I think I've put them down for a little bit.
I think you have. they don't have a lot of hit points, so it was pretty easy.
That will end my turn.
That is your turn.
I'm
So
not moving.
it was the weasel's turn next, but they're both asleep. So Alessandros, your turn.
Casually walk up and kill them, I guess.
You get up to that
Apologies,
one there.
team. I didn't mean to take kills.
That's all right. So Alessandros, you roll for attack on the giant weasel. So roll a d20. If you're using your rapier, it'll be a d20 plus 4. And because you get sneak attack too.
So that's 15.
You sure do.
So d20 plus 4.
16.
16, that hits. So roll your, it would be a 1d8 plus 2, plus d6 on top of that for your sneak attack.
D6, still finding my D8. D8 plus what? 6.
Yeah, so you roll your, so you roll your d8 plus 2.
That would make it 7.
7, then you add a d6 to that.
4.
So that's 11. 11 points down. You watch as Alessandros deftly sneaks up to the sleeping weasel and just shanks it right in the back of the head, and it's dead. It is absolutely dead. Not really a hard target. I mean,
So how long are you going to stay asleep for, by the way?
it'll stay asleep until when I read this thing here.
Until it's attacked. Or until it wakes up.
Until it's attacked or wakes up, basically. So it can roll. Yeah, basically, spell
Last
in
1
the
minute.
sleeper takes damage, or someone uses an action to shake or slap the sleeper awake, or until the spell ends, which is a minute. So you have one dead weasel, and that would be your turn, Alessandros. Next, holy crap! I just closed the initiative order. That's bad. Next was Neymaris, I believe.
So I just got right next to the other sleeping weasel.
Yeah, you can get up there easily enough.
Axe and
You can get up there easily enough.
got my hand out, so I'm gonna have a smash at it.
Your hand axe or your great axe? Your hand axe is a throwing weapon or a
my,
light
sorry,
weapon.
my great axe.
You got your great axe. So it's a d20 plus 4.
Which is 22.
That hits.
We need to get the skins,
Yeah, and 1d12 plus 2
Oh,
is
never
your
mind.
damage.
That's 10 for damage.
With one blow, you watch as Neymaris just decapitates this giant weasel. Its head just sort of rolls along the ground. Well, you guys made short work of that.
Did somebody say they needed a skin? Because there's one here but without a head.
Yeah, so what your contract stated is the required the hides in good order of 2 giant weasels. So you've got 2 giant weasels there. Who wants to make the nature check to skin them to see how good the hides are?
Hit takes a step back.
My naked's not too bad. I could do it.
I will eat them. I don't want to eat them. You need the hides.
You can eat them after they take the hide.
That is why I take a step back.
So who's going to do the skinning?
Doing the skinning if nobody else wants to do it.
Nobody else wants to assist?
I'll assist.
Okay, so roll nature check with advantage.
I knew you were going to say nature. That's why I stepped back.
Alright, well that'll be 14 then.
14.
And I got with nature is.
Oh no,
9.
she just rolled with advantage with your assistance. So with that first one, you get in there with your hand axe because you don't have a dagger on your hand, but you're actually pretty good. You're pretty deft with the hand axe, and you get in there and you take that skin, and it's in pretty good condition. You're pretty proud of the work. It was pretty quick too, and I think everyone else was sort of like, "Whoa, okay, didn't expect that." So who wants
Might we dry the meat?
Who wants the second skin? Who wants to try the
Firstly,
second?
I'm going to go remove my hand axe from
Oh yes,
this.
yes, you can
Still
retrieve.
lodged in there.
You can still
It may
retrieve your hand
eventually.
axe. Do you want to try skin the second one as well?
Screw it, why not?
All right. So who wants to assist? Anyone want to assist the skinning?
Yeah, well.
Okay. So a nature check with advantage, Aslan. And before I forget, you guys were given a special bag to carry the hides and venom in as well, so that the hides don't rot in the travel back.
I got a 10.
You got a 10. Ooh, lucky. DC was 10. Sort of exactly what you needed to do it. So yeah, you remove. It took you a little while, but you were slow and careful. But you removed the skin, and it's in good order. Probably not quite as good as Neymaris's attempt, but it's usable. It'll definitely complete that part of the contract. So you place those into the bag you were provided, and you now have 2 weasel skins in good order.
I think that went quite well.
It went a lot.
Head would like to walk up and take the meat and put them on a stick to dry.
You can do that if you want.
If no one's opposed.
I think that's a good idea. We should.
Can we cook one of them first?
Oh, you eat them cooked?
I prefer it.
Have one.
I mean, when it's time to cook, I shall take my piece first, if that's okay with everyone, but I don't mind drying them out.
That works, yeah. I'm good with that.
Sure.
And as you guys are there skinning the weasels, Alessandros, I think you've got the highest passive. Yes, you do. You hear in the distance the sound of hissing, and you have a look around, and you notice a bunch of snakes have slithered out of the trees around you.
Fire.
Yeah. So you got you hear them. You hear the slithering, the hissing, and you sort of look around. You see the 3 snakes sort of closing on your position, and you see a 4th snake towards the north, sort of closing in on you as well. Neymaris, roll a perception check for me, please.
This isn't going to go well.
Very good. I got a whole 3.
A whole 3.
I saw shit.
You saw shit. Oh wow. Yeah, you didn't see a whole lot. Hang on a second.
Is it
My
true?
feet.
You're how pretty.
So you won't notice the giant snake that's just pretty much stood right next to you. Everyone else does. You're sort of turning back, sort of going, "Oh, I did that really easy. That weasel was so easy to kill and so easy to bloody." And you just don't see the giant snake. I'm going to get you guys to re-roll initiative because I cleared the last one, which was a mistake. Just give me 1 second to add in these monsters.
Nice knowing you in the Maris.
I don't know that I like you very much.
Right, so Neymaris, what was your initiative? 14. And what's your max hit points at the moment?
13.
Alessandrus.
12
And your max hit points?
is 9.
9. Azulan.
20.
Ooh. And
Nice.
your max hit points?
10.
God, you guys rolled so low on your hit points. and Mr. Dragonborn hit?
Doesn't sound good.
14.
14. And I think you're
No, I
9.
have 9.
You're 9 as well, aren't you? Right, so for the sake
Level
of
1,
this,
everybody.
because Neymaris didn't see the giant snake, you're going to miss out on this initiative, and the giant snake's going to get first attack. Unless how can I do this? Alessandrus, do you want to warn Neymaris of the snake behind her?
Yeah.
So,
Or would I be able to do a tackle? Well, try and tackle. That's a stupid idea.
um,
I don't know.
try and tackle Neymaris, you reckon?
Significantly larger than you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just a little bit. You could make it. Well,
Actually,
That seems like a decision is made.
I
make a decision. You tell me what you want to do, and we'll decide on what you want to do.
well, with my ability to hang on, where is it? The racial. That's it. Appearance change. I can wait and so.
You cut off there, dude.
With my, I can change my appearance. I can change my weight and size.
Yes, you can.
So that's one action.
It takes an action to change your appearance. Yeah. So
I
what do you
won't
want
be able
to? If you take the action to change your appearance, you wouldn't be able. You could still move, but you wouldn't be able to tackle her or anything like that because that would be classed as an action.
All right then. I'll warn her.
You'll warn her. She's going to yell out.
Yeah. Neymaris, behind you.
Huh?
I was waiting for that. Do you look behind you or not, or do you turn around and look at Alessandrus?
I suppose I should probably
Speak
look
up.
behind- I should probably look behind me. Because why would she say that?
So you turn around, and look behind you, and there's a giant snake right in front of you. It's still gonna get a first attack on you.
Did someone say a giant steak?
Could be a very near future, my friend.
So the snake's gonna go with a bite attack. First off, and rolls a 15 to hit.
Bastard, you just got me.
I can't hear you. You'll speak up.
You hit me.
Thank you. So you take me little Tringle.
You have a beautiful accent. Speak up.
So you take 6 points of piercing damage, and you must make a DC saving throw as well, please.
DC 28.
Just roll your Constitution saving throw. Sorry. So it's a D20 plus with your on your con save.
That's a 10 altogether.
What's your Constitution saving throw bonus?
That's +4, and I rolled a 6.
You rolled 6. Okay, so it's 10. So you failed.
Wow.
You are now poisoned. This is not good.
I mean, I take 6 damage.
You take 6 points of piercing damage, but now you're taking also 7 points of poison damage.
I think I might be about to die, people.
And that will take us back to the initiative order.
So I need to do something.
Well.
Ezelan, you are first in initiative order.
Yep. Yeah. I am going to move up next to Neymaris. On the right of Neymaris.
Yep. Have at it.
To me, in prime opportunity to attack the giant snake.
Check the steak. I mean the snake.
With my glaive.
With your glaive, so D20 plus 5 for your hit.
20 plus 5. That is 26.
That definitely hits.
25. 25.
25?
Okay.
Yeah, so was that a natural 20?
That's natural 20, yeah.
Well, that hits anyway.
Nice.
So that's a crit attack. So when you roll your 1d10 plus 3, roll 2d10 plus 3. So
Roll
for the
2d10.
2d10 plus 3 for your critical.
So I got 13 plus 3.
So
16.
16 damage. Nice.
That's a good critical hit.
As you come into the aid of Namara, she's looking pretty rough. You can see the green poison coursing through her veins up through around her neck, and she's just not looking healthy. You come flying in with your double-handed glaive, and you just slam it down onto the poisonous snake's side, and it cuts really deeply. It coils back in fear and pain, lets out this really nasty hiss, and turns and sort of glares at you. That was a huge amount of damage. It is not looking happy. Neymaris, you are next, unless you have a bonus action, Aslan, that you want to do first. Now let's look at your bonus actions.
Bonus action is just self-heal.
You got second wind. You don't have your 2 attacks just yet. Nope, so that's pretty much it for you.
Yeah, sums me up.
Neymaris, your attack.
I need to do a death saving throw.
Are you unconscious?
I am indeed.
You didn't tell me.
Oh, dear.
I didn't realise you were unconscious. Yeah, death saving throw, please.
I got an 8, so that's a failure.
That is a failure, so mark that off. You didn't tell me that you were unconscious.
Oh. I'm unconscious.
Neymaris is down. So Neymaris is unconscious. The poison just took hold and just took her down. She's out to it. So next on the order is Hit.
Hit. Seeing Neymaris hit the deck, will move straight to her side, and he will pour his potion of standard healing, which he purchased earlier, straight into her gullet.
That'll take you an action to do so.
It does indeed.
So that will be 2d4 plus 2, I think. If I remember rightly.
And I will remove the potion from my back.
Just double check.
And
Potion of healing. Yeah, 2d4 plus 2.
as I give it to her, I say, "Come on now, let's see some raging."
So how much did you heal her for?
I have not rolled it because I'm a douchebag. 9.
9. So you take 9 points of healing, Neymaris, and you're now conscious, but you're still prone.
I just look at
Are
him
you
and
still
go,
poisoned?
She is still currently poisoned, yes. Actually, no, she's not poisoned. She just takes poison damage, sorry. So she won't
Oh,
be-
not suffering the poison condition. That is good.
Yeah, so she just took poison damage, not the condition.
That ends my turn. I do not do anything else.
So end your turn. Next would be the snakes. So these little ones are going to move in and make a series. I'm sorry, Alessandros.
Yeah, I see that.
This is going to hurt.
Oh, yeah.
They don't have a lot of hit points, but it's going to hurt. Oh, they're not very powerful either. So the first one, there's a 3. That's a miss. A 9 plus 5 is 12. What's your AC?
12.
So that one hits. That one hits, and that one hits. So you take one point of piercing damage from each of them. So you take 3 points of piercing damage, and you make a Constitution saving throw as well, please.
That's 30.
Well done, you saved. So that will be 1 point of poison damage. And that is the snake's turn. Alessandros, your turn.
How many points of damage?
You took a total of 4. And it's now your turn.
All right. I'll take the. Okay. The one to me right.
So this one here,
Which one?
you see me pointing to it on there. Either the one,
That's my left.
that one.
Yeah, we'll do that one.
Okay. Well, none of them are taking damage, so roll your d20. Plus 4.
At 16.
That definitely hits. And then roll 2 damage. Remember, you've got a bonus action for your offhand as well, so you don't get sneak attack on this one because it's not adjacent to anyone. So roll a 1d8 plus 2.
And that's 4.
That's 4. Smush. Cut its head off. It's dead. Just like that. So you got another attack for your bonus action. You can use your offhand attack, which will be again a d20 plus 4 to hit if you wanted to strike another snake.
18, so that's...
Yeah, that hits. So this one will be a 1d4 with no plus 2 because you don't get your modifier on your offhand. So it's just a 1d4 damage.
2.
2. You only have 2 hit points, and the second one is dead. The small snakes are easy. That is annoyance more than anything else. So it very definitely, you watch Alessandra, she just spins around with a rapier and it decapitates one snake and comes back around with a dagger and takes out the second snake after taking some almost half her life in damage. She's looking pretty rough, but she's still there. She's pissed off, but moved very, very quickly and very deftly. Back to the top of the order, Aslan.
Yo.
Your turn, sir.
I'm gonna finish that bitch.
You're going to finish the giant to snake.
Yeah.
Have at it, sir. D20 plus 5.
D20 plus 5. 17, so plus 5, 22.
That hits. And I believe...
1d10 today.
So
Not
then...
the double.
Yeah, so just a 1d10 plus 3.
5 total.
5 total. If I remember correctly. How do you want to kill the snake? You tell me how you want to kill him. He's dead. Describe his death to me.
Well, with a deft swing, I lodged the glaive in the slashing hole I'd already made, twisting my glaive to slice up the front of the snake.
It's, as you guys watch it, Aslan comes in and comes up, jams that glaive right into that open wound, sliding up the torso of the snake's body and just splitting it right up the front. Blood and she just sprays everywhere, and you see it reveals and opens up, and you can see the venom glands, the pulsing venom glands right in the base of the snake's head as it just eyes roll back at its head and just flops down in a giant heap on the ground right next to Namaris, and covers her in a bit of ichor and goop. She's alive, but she's still prone. And that is the death of the giant snake. So we have 2 snakes to go. Do you want to do anything else? You've still got movement.
Can I use a bonus action to offer a hand to Namaris to help her up?
I will allow that, yes. The bonus action to
I'll
help
give that a
and
go.
Maris is back on her feet. And that is your turn. Giant Snake was next. He's dead, so that's it. Namaris, your turn.
Neymar is raging. She don't like to be.
So you get a
knocked
bonus
out.
action to rage.
I am.
And what do you want to do?
I'm gonna move up to that other little snake there.
Move around for the sake. We'll get around there. So the little wee snake, you're raging hardcore now as Namaris sort of stands up, and you just watch her face just drop, and her eyes just burn with a bright red, and the glow is really intense, and she just screams out in rage and just charges that little wee snake. It looks almost amusing watching her charge at this tiny snake on the ground.
Any intimidating modifiers there?
She doesn't really need to. So with your great axe, you mark off that you've used a rage. So D20 plus 4, and you got a
23, please.
that hits, and you get a +2 on. You get a +2 on your weapon attack. So you add an extra +2 for your rage. So 1d12 +2.
Yeah, a 12 with that then.
That's dead. You watch as Damaris just slams down on this poor little snake with a giant great axe. Instead of using the blade, she flattens the handle out and just goes and just squishes it. It's just nothing but a smudge on the ground. There's nothing left of it. It is absolutely obliterated. And you realise you're not going to get any venom from that snake.
Damn it.
Marge didn't care. She just wanted to smash it.
Yeah, so mark off your rage. That lasts for 1 minute, so you'll be raging and for a little while yet. That's pretty much your turn.
I was just gonna look around and say, "Don't anybody come near me right now. I'm not very pretty at the moment."
Yeah, and she's not. She's got this real intense and almost terrifying look on her face. She's just full on rage mode. Hit, you're next in line, my friend.
Well, what have we got around that I can see?
There's one snake left alive, which is down behind Alessandra's.
Hit wants to play overkill, but backs up about 10 feet, but still wants clear view of this little snake.
Yeah, you'll get clear view there, but through the trees.
Excellent, and I'm going to fire my crossbow.
Crossbow, fire away.
That's a dirty 20 to hit,
That hits.
and I do 4 damage to that little snake.
That little snake takes an arrow to the eye, and gets just. You see it's rearing up, just about to bite Alessandros again, and the arrow just comes stunk, and it just sort of drops back on the ground, and you see it twitching and sort of moving still with the nerves kicking in. But that little snake is dead, and that is the end of our combat round.
And I call out, "I got your back, Alessandros."
Thanks.
Right. That is the end of the combat, guys. So that was interesting. I didn't expect Neymaris to be the first one to go down. Honestly, being attacked by a giant snake out like that, I mean, that was unfortunate. But
They are the hard they fall, I guess.
well, yeah. But yeah, so that is the end of the combat round. You need 1 vial of snake venom. Who wants to extract the snake venom?
I think it may be wise to see how much we can get out of the 4 smaller snakes.
Yes, you've only got 3 because
Well, I think
Neymaris
I think 3.
squished one to beyond
3
recognition.
smaller
I
snakes.
calmed down.
Hit
now.
jams into overkill. Overkill. All right.
No, you're still raging because it lasts for a minute. So
Oh.
you're still raging at the moment. You're kind of calm, but you're raging at the same time. You sort of standing there with your gripping your great axe with both hands, just your knuckles are white. You're just breathing heavily, sort of almost at a deep growl, with your eyes still burning a bright red. So, who wants to attempt to extract the venom from the smaller snakes?
I'll do that. That's nature check, isn't it?
It is a nature check. Anyone want to assist by holding the snake, maybe?
I will assist then.
Roll with advantage on your nature check. Roll 3 nature checks. All at advantage.
With the advantage, what's that do?
So you roll two d20s and take the higher.
Okay.
And just give me your three totals.
The highest one was 11. So that's what with nature. So that's 12.
12. So that was for your first snake. Can you do the same again for your second snake?
That's 9.
Wow. And your third snake?
That's better. 15.
15. Okay, so your first snake, it takes you a little while to figure out how to do it, but you manage to find the poison glands within the snake, and you manage to extract a quarter of a vial of venom from the first snake. Second snake, however, you struggle a little bit, and you can't seem to find the poison gland. And when you do finally find it, you pierce it with your knife, and you lose that venom. Third snake, again, you did better than the first one. You sort of learnt from your mistake on the second one, and you get into the venom sacs, you remove them, and you again extract another quarter vial. You still need half a vial to complete your contract.
So that would mean the big one should have enough.
It should. It depends on your roll.
Ed would like to string up the snakes and dry them out too.
Very good.
Very good. Yeah, you can do. I'll allow it. You string them up. But the thing is, you realise it can take like days to dry out these meats. You can't dry them out overnight.
I've got them hanging on a stick, sticking out of my backpack, soaking in the sun.
That's going to seem odd, but yes, okay, we'll allow it. And a bit smelly. That's right.
Yes.
So, who wants to attempt the large snake? Removing the venom glands are exposed because of Aslan's attack. So, would anyone like to assist Aslan? Okay. So Aslan, roll with advantage nature check.
16.
16. And Aslan takes out his dagger and sort of cuts around the gland and removes it, and sort of holds it up in his hand and takes the dagger and sort of pierces the bottom of it, holding the vial underneath, and just sort of gently squeezes it, fills the vial to the brim. And you can, by feeling the sac, there's still venom in there. You know that there's still venom in that gland. This gland's probably going to leak because it's been pierced, but you have another gland if you wish to take it. You could probably put it in the bag that you have because it'll preserve it, which is a full gland that is not pierced. So you've got one gland that's probably going to be useless because it's been pierced. If you had something you could put it in, you could probably fill something else up. But the second gland you can take with you.
Definitely want to take that second gland.
Okay, so you take the second gland. Would someone like to mark that down in their inventory that's been carried? You've got your vial of poisonous snake venom. You've got your two weasel hides. They're in the bag that the guildmaster handed to you to carry these items back. And who had the contract? It was Aslan. You had yeah. So as you put the vials and the vial and everything in the bag, you noticeably hear an arcane sound coming from your backpack. And as you pull out the contract, you notice that the contract, as you open it, it just lights up in a brilliant blue arcane flash, and there on the bottom of the contract is a large black lion's head. signaling the completion of your first trial.
We have completed the first trial.
And that's what we'll call it, guys. It's just after 10:30. That is awesome. That was just over 3 hours. Thank you so much, guys. That was cool. I really enjoyed that.
Good fun. Awesome team. Good team.
Well done, guys. So what we'll do is we'll pick up the story in 2 weeks' time. For those that can make it. Again, it'll be on a Sunday night. So I'll give you guys the date and everything over the next few days. And we'll pick up pretty much here. For the sake of story, if you guys want to take a rest here before you head back, we'll pick it up as you're camping and before you head back towards the city of Valon to hand in your first trial.
Is this going to be a long rest or not?
You can make it a long rest, so you can recover all your hit points and spell slots and what have you.
We'll do that right now then, eh?
Yep, do all that now before we finish up. And might as well organise XP before you go. While we're all here, I think I had this written down somewhere. Here we go.
Yes, XP.
So, if someone would like to calculate this for me, we have. Actually, I could probably do it.
Calculate it out.
You got your calculator out, lady?
I have.
So you had 4 snakes, which was a total of 100 XP, 50 XP for your big snake, and 75 total for your weasels. So how much is that total?
225.
225. Divide that by 4.
56.25.
So
57.
round up to 57. So everyone add 57 XP to your character. So where you do that on your page is you click on your name and then manage experience in the drop down box.
Yes.
And then add your 56 experience.
Ooh, only another 240.
And on top of that, everyone add a bonus 100 XP on top of that. Everyone gets it for the basically just for the journey there and back for your survival checks and stuff. So
156
100,
total.
156 total. Yeah, 157 total. So that should put you about halfway to level 2.
Right.
So yeah, so on that note, that is the end of the first episode of Paradym's Bold. Thank you so much for the players, for putting up with my shitty DMing.
I take a bow.
That's good.
And thank you to the viewers that stopped by tonight as well. I think at one stage we had up to 17 viewers, which I did not expect.
You did?
Sweet.
So that is awesome. Also, keep an eye out in the Discord, guys. In the D&D VOD section, there will be a link to the VOD for this stream. So if you did miss it and you do want to catch up, or if you missed some of it, you want to catch up on the whole episode, it'll be there. And keep an eye out on my YouTube channel, which I'll be posting in the Discord later on, probably next week. I'll be uploading every episode to YouTube as well.
Sweet.
So, on that note, we will bid everyone adieu, and we'll pick this up in a couple of weeks.
Good night.
Thank you, Neon, for coming to us via the UK. I know it was early in the morning for you, an early start, and the Aussie Struckenfalians representing my trash man. And,
thanks, guys. Awesome.
And of course, Baz, cheers, dude. Awesome having you on board, man.
Love it.
D&D addicts up in here. And we'll see you guys in a couple of weeks. Cheers, buddy.